Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving value's contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
I love it. Okay, episode number what, Rob? What number are we on today?
46.
What is it?
346.
346 PBD podcasts today. We were not going to do a podcast, but then yesterday, when we did our pod, we didn't get into a lot of the current events, and we got a lot of stories to get into. We said, let's do a pod today. Okay, let's do a pod today, which is exciting. We got a lot of stories to cover with you. There's a feud going on Twitter over DEI. I don't know if you guys are following this or not. Yeah. Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, back and forth. Here's what DEI stands for. No, here's what DEI stands for. And then Elon Musk finally asks, so does DEI apply to your NBA players? Like, do you have an Asian woman?
A short Asian woman.
Imagine it. That was fantastic.
And they went back and forth, which was entertaining. And then Universal officially surpasses Disney as top grossing studio for 2023. Would you have guessed that would have happened?
Oh, man.
Universal passes Disney, but then in the afternoon, like Tom said, NCAA inks an 8-year contract with ESPN worth $920 million. Nets fined for sitting players in NBA first, which is great. I like this whole thing about teams being fined for sitting players. Fed official says rates could remain as high for some time. As a matter of fact, Goldman Sachs says rates will stay above 6% through 2025, not even 2024. I don't know if I agree with that or not, but we'll see what happened, and we'll cover that as well. Apple stock downgraded as Barclays warns on cooling phone demand. Meanwhile, Microsoft is about to pass up Apple as the most valuable company in the world. You'll find out why. 62% of small business owners earned less money in Q4 of 2023 than they did in Q4 of 2022. Let me say that one more time. 2 out of 3 small businesses in America made less money in Q4 of 2023 than last year, 2022. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Small businesses, by the way. This is not good because small businesses are 49% of jobs, give or take, in America. So that's not good news. Blackwater founder Erik Prince predicts China will invade Taiwan in spring of 2024. Rob, run a poll. Do you believe China will invade Taiwan before the end of this year? Russia's Ukraine, Hamas, Israel. Do you think China's going to capitalize? We'll see. We'll talk about that. Islamic State takes responsibility for deadly bombings in Iran. Trump and DeSantis target Haley with only 11 days left until Iowa. 6th grader killed. 5 others hurt in shooting at Perry High School in Iowa. I know you got some updates there. Yep. Harvard's new course. Have you guys taken this new course or no? Have you and Adam taken a course?
I've been all over this new course. It's the Taylor Swift course?
The Taylor Swift course.
I'm all in. I'm telling you right now, I'm only going to go to that school. I'm going to leave this.
Adam got an A on that course.
Yeah.
He took the Udemy 100%. Course. Yeah. Epstein brother did an interview with Tucker Carlson, 27 minutes. It was fantastic. A lot of intel about different people he talked about. Al Sharpton and Bill Ackman got into it. And Bill Ackman is now asking for the entire resignation of Harvard's board after Claudine Gay stepped down, which, by the way, even though she stepped down, you know they're still paying her $900,000 a year?
No, because she's still teaching. She's a professor. Yeah. She's still doing it. Well, you know that helps out when Barack Obama calls and says, hey, don't fire her completely.
Yeah. By the way, you know what the valuation of Twitter apparently dropped? This is according to Rolling Stone. The value of Twitter has dropped. Ready? 71.5% since he bought the company.
Is that a fact?
That's a number. That's an insane number.
Should discuss that.
Why American CEOs keep quitting in record-breaking numbers. And then just $1 billion doesn't cut it to live on this exclusive island in Florida. And then Ray Epps, you know, that guy that apparently was an inside job or not. DOJ declined to prosecute him. Now they want him sent to prison. Wow. I wonder why.
Weird.
And then we got a couple videos to show you guys. One of the greatest campaign videos of all time, the great Joe Biden campaign video. If you really want to start off your day being motivated, we will start off with that video just to get you fired up. Meanwhile, quick recognition. Adam's the first person on Manect to cross 600 Manects. Great job. Just last night, I did 20 Manects, and I bought 8 Manects, talking to other users on Manect. If you are not using the app Manect, Relationship conversation. Guy asked me a question yesterday about marriage. Another guy asked me a question about a feud he's having with his partner. Another one asked me a question about, a relative that's working in his company as a salesperson that got caught doing something. How do I handle this? Then you have raising kids. Then you got comedy with you. Then you got business stuff with Tom and getting your kids in big schools. Then with Adam, I don't know what they talk to Adam about, but they talk to Adam about partying, ladies, girls, money,
I'm going to pay for one, Pat, just to see what the hell he's about.
Honestly, it's mostly like, hey, man, I'm in between jobs. I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about this. I thought it'd be more like dating, relationships. That's kind of where it started. A lot of personal finance things, a lot of directions.
600 people have paid to talk to you for a reason.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're giving them great feedback because you got a lot of 5 stars.
How do you juggle sexy?
All right,
Congratulations.
Let's get right into it. Do you want to start off with Elon Musk's Twitter deal? Let's start off with that. Elon Musk's X is worth 71.5% less than when he bought Twitter, says Fidelity. So Fidelity is not like a regular company. It's a multi-billion-dollar company with a lot of money under management. Here we go. Elon Musk's X, formerly known as Twitter, has lost 71.5% of its value since he bought it, according to Fidelity, one of the company's shareholders. This decline comes just over a year after Musk acquired Twitter for $44 billion and renamed it to X, with Fidelity estimating its current value at around $12.5 billion, significantly low than Musk's own October estimation of $19 billion. Musk's ownership of X has been marked by controversy, with hate speech rising on the platform after his takeover, leading to major advertisers like Disney, Apple, IBM severing ties. Additionally, X recently failed to block a California law requiring social media companies to disclose their content moderation policy. So, Tom, 71.5% of X has dropped. Why do you think that is? And do you think Elon's really worried about this number?
I don't think he's worried about it. I'll tell you why. Elon Musk's X is worth 71% less than when he bought Twitter. Interesting enough, Jeff Bezos' X is also worth 71% less because she's been giving away his fortune.
I'm a comedian.
Singer! But no, Elon Musk saw this coming. He came and he bought this. And when he walked in there, and what was he carrying the first day he walked into Twitter?
Kitchen sink.
The kitchen sink.
I'm here to change. Let that sink in, right? So there we go. So he kind of knew this would happen, but you have to remember, this is a public stock. Stocks go up and down. As soon as, and by the way, Disney, Apple, and IBM and some of the things they're boycotting, in the backdrop in America is DEI kind of getting, get its fingers slammed in the door a little bit, which means some of these advertisers are going to be coming back, and as soon as they come back, it's here. But what is happening right now? Is Elon Musk a buy and hold guy when he buys things, or is he a builder? He's a builder. He is building functionality. We're seeing it right now. We're seeing things happen. And by the way, Twitter's had outages. There's a thing about an outage this week. But just remember, he is currently running the current Twitter with 1/3 the staff that he did before, and he's building new functionality in it, suffering with some things. But what's going on in the background is a stronger Twitter is emerging, and as soon as the corner turns on micro subscriptions, because he was charging people for the blue check, and he's going to be charging people for other things, and he was a destination for things like a Tucker Carlson show. So there's a lot happening in the background while the pressure's on the stock and the advertisers are away. You know what's going to happen as soon as the advertisers step back and some of these other subscriptions go? All of a sudden, Elon Musk is going to make an announcement in a quarterly report, just like he did with Tesla. Now, we sold a lot more cars than you thought we did. Remember those announcements that come?
Yep.
Oh, he's got all these trouble, and full self-driving, FSD has got problems. And he comes out, well, there may have been problems, but we sold 30,000 more cars than we thought. All of a sudden, what happens? Tesla is up at 260 or whatever it is, the single most valuable auto stock. I don't think he worries about this. I think he's going to make a comeback on it. But more importantly, right now he's developing and adding things to it. Twitter is getting more valuable from a technology standpoint, not less valuable.
So I'll give you a little feedback, Tom, because I agree with you for the most part. It's all about timing. Short term, I think this is a freaking disaster. Imagine you buy a house for $1 million. $1 million. A year later, your house is now worth $300,000. Let that sink in for a second. Sink in, Tom. So anyone in the short term would be like, dude, what the hell is happening here? Now, long term, I think we all know that he's a visionary. He's a builder. I think he's going to build this thing back up. But let's not pretend that whatever he touches, whatever he does, just automatically turns to gold. I think we're all fans of Elon. I think we're all seeing what he's doing with X, formerly known as Twitter. But this is not a good look.
Not a good
look. And last point, there is some precedent here. So you talked about stocks going up, stocks going down. We saw what happened to Meta, Facebook. When Facebook changed their name to Meta, tanked. Now they're up as high as ever. But they turned it around, but their business model didn't change, and they weren't telling advertisers to go fuck themselves. So there is some uphill battle here with Elon. I think we all like Elon, free speech advocate, free speech absolutist. He's absolutely trolling everybody. Right now he's feuding with Mark Cuban. I think we all believe in Elon. But if this was your company, if this was your house, and you were down 70% in 14 months, you'd be very, very weary.
I'd be nervous, but you have to, because I take a step back. I don't know about the money. I know it's bad, but what he's doing for us as humanity that we get to see now. Because, dude, if you think about it, if it wasn't for him buying X right now, would you be here? This whole Epstein thing, you would have heard it maybe once on CNN. Fox would have been touching on it, and it would have been gone. Thank God for him, because, bro, he cares about the people that we could talk. He loves humanity. He wants to give us a forum. And, Adam, do you think he cares about money, or does he care about humanity? Does he care about letting us talk and letting us have these conversations?
So you know what he's doing? He's running a 501c3 nonprofit philanthropic organization. God bless you.
Yeah.
We see that, like, if there's issues on the traditional social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, what have you, okay, let's go to X. He won't censor that. But if you're trying to make money, which a company is supposed to be doing, they're not doing it.
Well, Sas, you would know this. I mean, X is not a dividend stocks. This isn't Hilton, IBM, AT&T, the classic dividend stocks that used to pay mom and dad.
It's a private company. It's not even public anymore, right?
Right. But the day he comes back out, the day he goes, and the day this all comes back home to roost, is he happy about the value? No. Is the advertisers leaving kind of a pain in the ass? Did he want to get on stage and says, hey, Bob Iger and Disney, go off? No. He didn't want to do that. But you know what? My point is, don't dance on his grave. And this thing, I don't think people understand what is coming back. And what I keep saying is look at Tesla, look at full self-driving, look at the innovation, look at battery use, look at all the things that you're seeing in Tesla that everybody else is doing. Look, Tesla is making contracts with everybody else to be the gas station for the EVs they sell. So yeah, real dumb guy he is. He's selling razor blades. Everybody else is making razors. And so I don't think he's happy about this, but don't dance on his grave, baby.
I tell you, I really don't think he gives a shit.
That's what I'm saying.
I really don't think he gives a shit. He's sitting there saying, you guys worry about the stuff, tell the story, tell all the stuff that you guys want to talk about. When you trust yourself to know that you're going to deliver and you've done it over and over and over again, your level of confidence is so high that when people second guess you, it's almost like, because here's how life works. I had a meeting with, you and I had this conversation together in Aspen one of the mornings, right? And I showed it to him. I said, look, here's how life works. In life, the first time you cast a vision that you're going to win at the highest level, okay, and you're on your peers, what happens? Like Saul is here, he's upstairs, right? Saul, a friend of mine that, him and I used to sit at Denny's and we would talk, me, him, and another guy, and we would say, I'm like, hey, one day we're dreaming. How do you know the other person is real? How do you know the other person's not full of shit? How do you not know that? A lot of people are full of shit, right? Okay. Then you fast forward, then you talk a bigger dream. Then your friends are kind of like, yeah, so when are you going to do this now, huh? Look at this idiot. He said, where's your car? Where's your money? And then people start working with you, and then you sell it to them. Then they quit on you. You're not going to pull it off. You're not smart enough. You're not this. You're not. You never. Why would I believe you're capable of doing this? And who's right, by the way? All of those guys are right because you haven't proven to the marketplace. Then it happens. Then those guys call, and some of them lie to your face, and they say what? We always knew you were going to make it.
Yeah.
And those guys call, and they say what? Man, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I didn't think we were going to make it. Shit, I'm not.
Being real.
I was actually a hater. And the fact they did it, good for you. But now you go on your next run. And those people now say what? Well, I know he did it before, but dude, there's no way in the world he's going to do it again, okay? Now you have to go sell the newer people in your life, and some of the people that were in your past life, they're like, no, I believe this guy. So, for example, David Sachs gets a call from Elon. Guess what David says? No, this guy's going to do it. Hey, what do you need, Elon? Boom. And then, so the people that are close to you, your level of reputation in the marketplace, they're going to come through, goes higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. But every single time, whether you like it or not, the second-guessing community is going to show up, and they're going to keep second-guessing you. And that's what Elon's going through right now. And guess what, Elon? The difference for him today, he doesn't have to prove that he's smart. He doesn't have to prove to the world that he's rich. He doesn't have to prove to the world that he's a cool cat. He doesn't have to prove to the world that he's a great troll. He just has to ask himself the question. No one in the world knows more about what it is to build a $1 trillion company again than this guy. The question is, does he want to do it? And knowing how he is, guess what the answer is? Of course he is. Okay? Of course he is. But he's going to go through his experience of whatever's going to happen here with Twitter. And by the way, this leads me to DEI.
I was just going to ask you one quick question. Because of this, he purchased Twitter X for $44 billion.
$44 billion.
How much was his own money that he put down? How much did he raise?
He did a little bit of both. He got a little bit of debt. It was a little bit of his own money. He sold a little bit of Tesla stock, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he did a little bit of everything.
So let's say he put in 10 to 20%, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he put in $4 billion, $8 billion, whatever.
Yeah.
That other 35 plus billion, that money, those investors, what are they thinking right now? They're like, this is a horrible investment. They have to be thinking.
By the way, nobody told you to get in.
Yeah.
Nobody told you to get in.
Okay.
Don't get in. Why'd you get in? Who hit ARK, whatever, Kathy Wood, whatever her name is. Who told you to get in? Nobody told you to get in.
It's a gamble.
No,
You're
what
gambling.
are you talking about? You shouldn't have gotten in if you don't want this kind of risk. It's your risk tolerance. So Fidelity, it's great you're reporting. You can bitch and whine all you want and kind of put it on him that it's his fault. It's not Fidelity, because a lot of these guys have to write these bad articles about Elon to say that it's Elon's fault. It's not Fidelity's fault. It's Elon's fault. It's not, ARK. It's Elon's fault. It's not this person. I get it. But you made the recommendation to the client, and we said yes. So one, it ain't Elon's fault. Two, you made the recommendation. Three, the investor, the money person that put it in, you said yes. You should have known from the beginning what the risk was going to be going into Twitter. Twitter was never going to be something you were going to buy. We knew day one it was overpriced. He knew it. We knew it. Everybody knew it. He said he was overpriced by 50%. Within a couple months after buying it, he called it a nonprofit.
Yeah, with the bots and everything that was going on with
so
that.
he was never Elon never oversold Twitter at all from day one. Never. He always undersold. He always told you it's worth less. He always told you don't do it. He's the guys that telling you, you sure you want to go in on this with me? You sure you? That's his way. And by the way, that's my style of doing it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Hey, you want to be married to me? It's going to be hard. Hey, you want to be in business with me? It's going to be hard. Hey, you want to work with a startup? It's going to be hard. He came from that approach, which is the right approach. So nobody else can bitch and whine about it that went in, because he told you from day one it wasn't worth what he bought.
And by the way, they're not going to whine. I just looked up real quick. He brought in $7.1 billion from, the joke is, it was Elon's friends and family. And one of them was Larry Ellison, who put $1 billion. Who put $1 billion in. And he says he's going to turn it around. It's just a matter of when. And that was, so, and Ellison is not playing with this kid's college money. These are people, that's an example of what Pat just said. That is a long-term player that says, I believe
Not
in
Ellison, though. Ellison is different, because Ellison is Musk. Ellison is Musk's mentor. So if there's there is the profile of guys like Ellison. They're not everybody. Ellison profile of investors make up a very small percentage. The majority of other people went and said, oh my God, I'm about to 10x my money. I'm about to 3x my money. No, you're not. Nope. You're the people that should have never gone in with him, because he's not that guy. The Ellison guy, he knows who he's banking on. He knows who Elon Musk is. He knows what he's doing. It's like, I'm giving you this much money. I don't want this money returned for another 5-10 years.
Right. I was just going to say about time horizon. They knew that this was a 10-year investment.
Not everybody.
And not everybody thought that this was a 5-10 year investment at the minimum?
No. What I'm saying is not everybody knew and went in with that mindset. A lot of people just went in with the mindset of, oh my God, we're losing money. Oh my God, what if this? And oh my God, let's make the return on this. Those people made the mistake. Those people made the mistake. Anyways, all right, so let's go into this next story, which is Mark Cuban and Elon and DEI. What page is that on, Rob? If you can help me direct towards it. Let's see. What
that
page is that
page
on?
8.
Okay, here we go. Page 8. Billionaire Mark Cuban pushes back against Elon Musk again. This time, it's over DEI. Okay, so let's see what's happened here. And here we go. The latest to weigh in on the debate is Shark Tank host Mark Cuban, who defended DEI initiatives in the corporate world in a post on X on Wednesday. Cuban was also responding to comments made by Elon Musk, whom he previously publicly criticized, who equated DEI with racism in a post on X earlier that day. In Cuban's view, DEI helps companies find talent they wouldn't discover otherwise. Without it, people of various races, ethnicities, and orientations will be regularly excluded from hiring consideration, according to Cuban. Good businesses look where others don't to find the employees that will put your business in the best possible position to succeed. So companies that forego DEI practices only stand to lose. The loss of DEI-phobic companies is my gain, Cuban wrote. Musk had earlier written on X that DEI is just another word for racism. Shame on anyone else who uses it. By the way, go to Twitter, and if you can put this exchange, Rob, I don't know if you have it. Is that the one? Okay. Let me help you out, give you my, okay, first of all, discrimination on the basis of race, which DEI does, is literally the definition of racism. So show more. So, by the way, on the bottom, yeah, show more right there. Okay, let's read what Mark Cuban writes. He says, let me help you out and give you my thoughts on DEI. Help you out. Like Elon needs help, but let's help him out.
Yeah.
Diversity. Good businesses look where others don't to find the employees that will put your business in the best possible position to succeed. You may not agree, but I take it as a given that there are people of various races, ethnicities, orientation, etc., that are regularly excluded from hiring consideration. By extending our hiring search to include them, we can find people that are more qualified. The loss of DEI-phobic companies is my gain. 1A, we live in a country with very diverse demographic. In this era where trust of business can be hard to come by, people tend to connect more easily to people who are like them. Having a workforce that is diverse and representative of your stakeholders is good for business. Now go all the way to the bottom and see what Elon retweets back. Go a little bit more. Okay, right there. Now, okay, let's continue with equity, and then Elon responds back. Treating people equally does not mean treating them the same. I made the mistake for a lot of years thinking it did. Equity is a core principle of business. Put your employees in a position to succeed. Recognize their differences, but that's not what equity they're talking about, Mark. This is a different equity you're talking about. Go to the next one, number 3. Inclusion. One of my favorite sayings is great employees reduce the stress of those around them. Great companies create environments that reduce unnecessary stress of their employees. I'm not talking hit a quota or getting the product out the door stress, which in turn increases productivity. This is what inclusion is all about, making all employees, no matter who they are or how they see themselves, feel comfortable in their environment and able to do their jobs. Again, it's not easy. Go a little lower. He continues here, one of the lessons, CEOs don't know something else, okay, in their minds. Okay, so what's the conclusion? If you don't think there's a need for DI and doesn't create a competitive advantage for your company, just look at X posts, replies, quotas below. These are the same people that work for you or your coworkers. Everyone is entitled to their own POV, but these are same feelings even if they are not said out loud or heard out loud. Ashley St. Clair responds and says, DEI is seen as a core competency in most companies. It's just a huge expense. Yes, and at any time you make something like DEI a requirement, it will turn into checklist and eventually lucrative industry. You give a pretty liberal breakdown of DEI from a definition standpoint, but seem to gloss over what DEI and sister programs such as affirmative action has become in actuality, which is ironically rather discriminatory. Equity and equality are also wrongly conflated here. The reality of DEI is destroying meritocracy to hire based on race and gender for extra social credit points. This is wrong and will only breed further division in the country. Rob, go back to the one that Elon just responds back quickly. Go back right there. I think it's the first one. Go one more right there. Go a little lower. No, you got to go back one more. You had it earlier. Cools. So when should we expect to see a short, white, Asian woman on the maps?
That is so funny.
Tom, you hear this? What do you think about this DEI explanation from Mark Cuban?
I think Mark Cuban is trying to play to the choir, and he is trying to kind of keep one foot not getting yelled at on DEI and the other foot, oh, I'm an independent entrepreneur. And I think Cuban is also making a bedrock of his argument there is that people of color or other people aren't going to be considered because of their race. So what he is saying is, companies are racist and they're not even looking at these people anyway. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. Companies are taking great strides to find the absolute best people. You know, it's one of the interesting things that I read about in terms of HR is the whole take the name off, take the name and the zip code and the city off of your resumes, and don't name, so you don't know if it's male or female, or you're interpreting it's male and female by the name at the top. Chris could be Chris, you know, Terry. So you take that off the top and you just look, where's this person been? What have they done? That's interesting. Let's interview them. That's interesting. Let's talk to their references and let's do it on merit. You know, there's a lot of effort being done out there to hire in a fair way because companies want great people. Look at the situations we've had here. We're trying to find great people in key places. We don't care what you look like. We want to find great people. And Cubans out there saying, well, you know, DEI is my gain. Your loss is my gain. What are you talking about? If I've got better people than you do, I don't care what they look like, I'm going to beat you, Mark. Mm-hmm. And his premise is, oh, well, you know, these people wouldn't be found anyway because of the way they look. That's playing to the inflammatory mob of all hiring is racist. And so I think Mark's trying to keep one foot on both sides of it.
He's always like that. It's very interesting when because Mark plays politics, slippery slope, completely. Like trying to be an independent, but you know he's a full-blown liberal. He's
100%.
Yeah, but at the same time, economically, he knows this shit doesn't work.
100%. But why is he spewing it? Why is he talking about it?
So Cat Williams said something very interesting on his podcast with Shay with Shannon Sharp, and he says, you know, a lot of these guys in the community, they will tell you, we back each other up. You know, when you're in Hollywood, you do this and you do that and you do this. When you're in that community, everybody in that community is defending each other, whether the idea is shitty or not. Just defend it. Just back it up. They're not going to be not defending one another. It just seems like that's what he's doing. Whether it is his intention or not, whether it's, you know, what he believes in or not, it's the position he keeps taking. Let me tell you why DEI. Let me tell you why ESG. We have to stop doing this and we have to stop doing that. No. DEI failed. ESG failed. Mm-hmm. These ideas failed. Period. And just give it to him. Give it to him and say it was a bad idea is what it was.
Let me break this down. I love what he said about, all right, so instead of getting the best player for your basketball team, just hire a short Asian woman to play for your team. Let's break this down and just simplify this message. Arguably the best player in the basketball right now is Luka Doncic, okay? Other than Nikola Jokic, MVP, Joel Embiid, you might say Giannis, whatever it is. Just to understand DEI, you don't sign Luka, okay, MVP candidate, averages 30 a game, 10 assists, because to fulfill your DEI quota, we can't have Luka, we got to have Sung Soo over here, who's 5'4" Asian woman, because that fills our quota. No, you're trying to win basketball games. That's the goal of an NBA owner. That's the goal of a GM. That's the goal of a head coach. Win games, win championships, not check off boxes. So is the 5'4" Asian woman that Elon alludes to help them win championships? Of course not. So to be clear, DEI in its most simplistic forms is reverse racism. It is anti-straight white men. It is the patriarchy. Yeah. And that's what they're looking to do here. So at the end of the day, you know what happened in the S&P, there's the S&P 500 everybody talks about, but there's actually the S&P 100. Here's a little food for thought. What percentage of America is white?
America?
30%? 60%, Vinny. 60%.
I was just trying to be,
My black friends, 14%. Asians that they're looking to hire for the Mavs, 5%. My Hispanic Latino friends, 19, 20%. S&P 100, do you want to know how they've infused their way, DEI, into the S&P 100, top 100 companies? You know what percentage of white people the top S&P has hired this past year, 2021, 2022, as far as it goes back? 6%. 6%. So just let that sink in for a second. 60% of America is white. The S&P 100, the top companies in the country, in the world, only hired 6% of its workers, white people. So that just shows they're not solving for a meritocracy. They're not solving who's the best in the business. They're just doing the DEI check in the box. Look at Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard. That's a prime example. By the way, 23% of who they hired was black.
Many of those companies
22%,
and they're scared.
100%. 22% were Asian, 40% Hispanic. So we're looking for the best people for the job. We all saw what United Airlines tried to do. They said, moving forward, 50% of who we're hiring is going to be women, 50% will be men. Yeah, we got a problem here, buddy. 90% of pilots are men. So now you're putting people's lives in jeopardy just to check off a female box.
Yeah, the hell with
Do you think I give a shit?
It could become
if it's
dangerous.
men, woman, tranny, whatever.
Yeah.
Get me on my flight safe to where I'm going.
Yeah.
Period. I want to win a championship. I want my company to make money. I want to arrive in my city safe. Don't care who it is. Best person for the job.
I just don't have any respect. Like when it comes to like a Mark Cuban, like you said, they're flip flop, they're lukewarm, their foot is here. Like it's like I don't have any respect for someone that doesn't take their stance and stick with it. He's obviously suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, which is one of them. But I don't like this flip floppy making everybody happy. He's a man. Stand your ground and say what you really want.
By the way, let me just send you this article here, Rob. Can you please pull up this article and show it to the world? Do you know the man who is screaming DEI, DEI, DEI? Oh, DEI.
Oh.
Let's do DEI.
Is it?
Do you know, according to Guardian, please pull this up and show it to the world. Do you know what team is the whitest team in the NBA?
The whitest.
The
Can
Dallas
you pull up
Mavericks.
the whitest team in the NBA according to the Guardian?
The Dallas
What the hell are you talking about, DEI?
Yeah.
The argument is over. You have the whitest team in the NBA.
Yep.
The Dallas Mavericks are consistently white in a black game.
That's also a reason they haven't won a championship since Dirk Nowitzki in 2001.
But by the way, here's what I will.
The
Here's what's-
champion has an asterisk. Dirk was white.
Here's what I will tell you. Guess what? The Mavs. He puts the right team. He's got a good team.
Yeah.
I actually like what he's doing with the team. My argument isn't his team. I do agree Luka's a top 3 guy in the NBA. He's eventually going to be the best guy in the NBA. I think Giannis is right now number 1 because Giannis is 1 and he hasn't proven himself yet. So this guy's a top 3
I got
guy
the
in the
Joker,
NBA.
but that's another point.
But yeah, Joker's also top 3 in my eyes. I just put if I have a choice between Giannis and a Joker, I'm taking Giannis. But Mark, you realize how much your argument loses credibility when your team is the whitest team. So let's go read it on the bottom. Let's go read it on the bottom here. So what the stat says. So the NBA was 74.2% black, 16.9% white. It was very, NBA runs on Mavs. Okay, they often kept the dreams of mediocre white guys alive. Yet one franchise has kept the dream of mediocre white guys.
This is just the pot calling the kettle black.
Of the last 21 Mavs seasons, there were 3 or more white players on the 12-man active roster. In more than half of those 15 seasons, there were at least 4 white players, not to mention at least 2 starting white players. The Mavericks, in the literal sense, do not like these like the rest of the league. It's tempting to put this down to racism or at least unconscious bias on the part of the Mavericks owner. Oh, shit, Mark. Cuban. But if anything, the opposite is true. Although the Mavericks have a toxic workplace, although the Mavericks have a dubious history of toxic workplace culture when it comes onto female employees, Cuban has thrown his support to Black Lives Matter and da-da-da-da.
By the way, don't just skip over that last point.
The women thing.
Yes, they had major issues internally with the women and sexual allegations going on there for years, systemically within the Mavs.
But that goes to your point, though. He's full of shit. He's flip-flop.
Correct.
By the way, I have a friend, Pat, you guys will respect this. He's a comedian. Rob, his name is Adam Hunter. You don't have to look it up. He said, I think in basketball, there shouldn't be any overtime at all. When the regular time is done, whichever team has the most white people, they win.
There you go.
Why even have overtime?
Let's not gloss over this. Do you remember the incredible storm and Mark Cuban should be thanking his personal God that there was Dan Snyder in Washington at the Redskins, now the Commanders, because that was a horrible toxic culture for women who he had the special calendar made, with their own cheerleaders, and it was really inappropriate and all the stuff that went on there. At that same time, that created the cloud in front of the fact that the NBA was going through the same thing with the Dallas Mavericks and women. And what was going on. And so Mark should thank Dan Snyder for making a bigger problem for women that he hid behind while it was being fixed in Dallas.
But you know what this does, though? You know what this does? Here's what happens when you have a story like this, when you're going out there and criticizing, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, but. You know what happens if Elon Musk finds out? Okay, go tag. By the way, if you're watching this podcast, do a short clip of this, put it on Twitter, tag Elon Musk and say, Elon, did you know that Dallas Mavericks are the whitest team in the NBA? Do you know what Elon would do with a troll job of this?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Just keep in mind one thing about the Mavericks, or Mark Cuban, and you'll appreciate this. We always talk about establishment, anti-establishment, disruptor. There was no bigger disruptor in the NBA than Mark Cuban when he entered the league.
Yeah.
No bigger disruptor.
Fighting, yelling.
This guy got fined every single game.
Yelling, cussing.
He's yelling at refs.
upwards of $500,000.
This guy was a disruptor. But here's what happens. Eventually, you bend. Eventually, you end up on Shark Tank. Eventually, you get owned by NBC.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're part of CNBC. Eventually, China. Eventually, the disruptor becomes part of the establishment. Now he's establishment.
100%.
And he's basically calling out the disruptors like the Elon Musk.
Well, guess what? This article of Guardian is officially live. So good luck. Go try to hide this Guardian article.
No, you're right.
Whitest
Adam.
team in the NBA.
You're right, Adam. It's barbarians to bureaucrats. At the end of the day, you end up on the back end and you're a bureaucrat.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Bang.
Although
Couples retreat.
Oh, bang,
Cuban gets another
You
facelift.
said we're going to go back and bang, bang.
bang, bang.
All right, so Tom, you threw me off here. All right, let's
Sorry
go to
about
the
that.
next. Let's go to the next story here. Next story we got is 62%. Vinny, I'm coming to this one with you. 62% of small business owners earned less in Q4 2023 than Q4 2022. This is a zero hedge story. Let me say it again. 62% of small business owners made less money in Q4 2023 than they did in 2024. A December small business revenue report by Alignable reveals that 62% of small business owners experienced a decline in revenue during Q4 2023 compared to last quarter. This figure is notably higher than 52% who had previously anticipated a disappointing fourth quarter. The primary concern among small business owners has shifted to ramping up revenue, overtaking worries related to inflation. Approximately 37% of those surveyed now engage in side jobs to, wow, that is insane. Small business owners, 37% are now engaging in side
Like
jobs.
Uber.
To supplement their income, while an additional 56% take on side gigs to cover mounting expenses, leaving only 7% satisfied with the income generated solely from their business. Damn. Small business owners continue to grapple with the challenges of high interest rates affecting 52% of them. Moreover, 41% of small business owner renters reported being unable to pay their rent in full and on time in December, while 51% faced rent increases. Tom, these are real numbers with small business owners facing. These guys are running companies and they're getting jobs on the side.
So I just called the White House and they said the economy's fine, and they hung up on me.
Well, in
So,
that case.
Okay, then let's skip the story and go to the next.
because
No, so here's what's going on. We all talked about this, and we said that the fourth quarter was probably not going to be as good as the third quarter because Americans dipped into HELOCs. They ran their credit cards up to $1 trillion, and they said, "Oh, the consumer was resilient." Well, guess what we're hearing? We're hearing that Q4 was not the barn burner that Q3 was, and now small business people are hurting. We said Main Street is going to hurt. This is the economy coming home to roost, and this is consumer spending down in fourth quarter, and this is the small businesses are not worried about the inflation. Now they're worried about raising their revenue, and they had a decline in revenue in Q4 23 versus 22. What declined? Consumer spending. And so this is exactly what we talked about. That underneath the headlines for, wow, look at the S&P 500. Oh, you mean the S&P 7, the Magnificent 7, and NVIDIA chips that freaking drove that engine all year? You mean that? Underneath it, the economy is not in great shape, and interest rates are high and going to be here for a while. And this just shows that below the surface, people are still having a tough time despite the headlines.
how's that? By the way, yeah, go ahead, Adam, because I was going to say this is egregious. I just wanted to use a big word.
I just want to take a second to just say how much I appreciate small business owners. You have no idea what it's like to own a small business. Why do I say that? I don't own a small business. I'm an intrapreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. There's a difference. I've always been the number 2 guy or the top sales guy. I'm never the guy putting down the capital, taking on the risk. Okay? And to do that, and listen, all the guys we meet here at Valuetainment, everyone at the Vault, everyone at PBD Consulting, at Bet David Consulting, you have no idea how much respect I have for these guys. They lay it all on the line. They bust their ass. They work their tail off to create jobs in America. What percentage of jobs created in America are created by small business? I think it's like 50%, right? It's even higher than that, Tom. We can pull that up.
Rob, pull
I think
that.
there's 33 million small businesses in America that employ well over 60 million Americans. These are job creators. These are hustlers. They are entrepreneurs. They stay up at night. They're working their freaking tail off. They're trying to do something. There it is, 33 million small businesses in America.
Damn.
Turns out I know what I'm talking about. These guys are what makes America tick. I'm not talking about the S&P 100, the S&P 500. These guys are not small businesses. These guys all have what? How many employees is it considered to be a large business? 5,000 employees, whatever the number is. I'm talking about the guys with 3 employees, the guys with 10 employees, the guys with 80 employees, the solopreneur just trying to create a job and get it off the ground. I have so much respect for these people. And you know what percentage of small businesses fail? What is it? 75% within the first 5 years? These guys are hustlers, and they're doing what they got to do to feed their family, to make their legacy, to make their impact on the world. Just want to give a shout out to the small business owners and the entrepreneurs.
Have they ever? COVID set this off for them to start failing horribly, right, Tom? Like especially
and overwhelming percent of it, I think like 40% of the failures were restaurants, which was the mom and pop restaurants who got shut down and they're not like Cheesecake Factory. Oh, I'm a chain. I'm just going to do delivery. I'm going to do all this. They didn't have the ability to do that. One of the biggest ways, I support Adam 100% what he just said. I echo that feeling. And one of the best ways you can support small business in your community, find the small restaurants that are usually, and by the way, you're usually going to find great food, and you're going to find great food from different places all over the world where they're operating in your town. And that's one way you can support small businesses, is find the small restaurant that's doing it. I love in Miami, and I will plug it, Espanola. I love going down that little street.
Espanola way, baby.
Yep, I love that little street.
Yeah.
They're all independent businesses.
what?
Tom saying Espanol is the whitest thing ever. I love Espanol.
Not Espanola.
You know what Tom made me think about? Every time Tom comes over, Tom talks to Melva, and he talks to Melva in Spanish. And I swear, every time Melva comes to me afterwards saying, why does this gringo try to talk to me in Spanish?
Hola, Melva. Mi amor. Toma.
And I freaked her out.
La comida es bueno.
Like,
Dame
what
un
is this
beso,
guy
por favor.
doing? And I'm like, Melva, he's making an effort. Man.
He's doing his thing.
I freaked her out. I tried to say good morning. Apparently, I said there's a demon in the pool. So it's like,
El queso está viejo y podrido. Yeah. The cheese is old and moldy. I'm sorry.
By the way, for those of you guys that are watching a podcast and you're seeing the glitching going on, this is not us. We're on a T1 line. This is YouTube. It happened yesterday. It happened today. We've never experienced this before, and I know it just dropped out right now. What I ask you to do is, I'm going to put the link of my tweet, okay, what I just sent on Twitter to YouTube. If you could be kind enough, just go tag YouTube and ask what is going on. And I think they responded back to us yesterday. Let me do this again. And let me see what I got here. Did the tweet show up there on the comment section or no, Rob? You put it there? Okay, fantastic. On the PBD podcast, if you can go and just retweet that and comment at YouTube as well. I think enough people asking a question of YouTube that will get their attention. This has never happened, so we're not sitting here saying this is, here's what's going on. That is what's going on. All I'm saying to you is the first time this has happened the last 2 days, and it's happening again. And what upsets me is the fact that you keep watching it, and then all of a sudden 50 ads come up. So we just turned off the ads. Rob just did, so you don't have to worry about the ads. But we're listening to you. We're paying attention to what you're doing. And I know you guys got busy lives, and you got a lot of other things doing. For those of you guys that are coming back and staying with us, we appreciate you. We do this with you. We do this for you, and we enjoy it. We like doing this. We sometimes are going to have technology issues and glitches that happens in life. You can't get discouraged. You got to stay strong. Whether it's the adversary not wanting a message to be heard, we're going to do our part to get that message over to you, and we trust eventually YouTube technology team is going to figure this thing out, and we'll get past this, and we'll get ahead of it. So having said that, if you can do that, we will kindly appreciate you guys. Let's go to the next story. All right, so next. And by the way, the best thing sometimes for you guys that are in the States, if you want to make sure you always get our material, text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. Text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. Anytime that something happens with like yesterday's podcast, that community will get a text with a new link to be able to watch the content. So again, To make sure you protect the long term, text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. And guess what? Future looks bright, baby.
It does.
Future looks bright. All right, so let's go to the next story. Chart of the day. Mortgage rates will stay above 6% through 2025, Goldman Sachs says. We officially lost 3,000 loan officers that got off the podcast.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they just got off. They're like, screw you.
Bye.
You know, but by the way, screw
we love
Goldman
those guys.
Sachs that said this. This is not our story, but let's read. We like Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs predicts that 30-year mortgage rates will remain above 6% through 2025 with a projected rate of 6.3 by the end of 2023 and 6 in 2025. This revised forecast reflects expectations of Fed interest rate cuts and a narrowing spread between mortgage rates and Treasury yields. Last week, the average 30-year mortgage rate was 6.62, showing a decline from its recent peak of 7.79 in October. This trend indicates some improvement in housing affordability, but not a complete reversal of the rate increases observed from 2022 to 2023. Lower mortgage rates are expected to stabilize the mortgage-backed securities market and lead to increased mortgage origination, projected to reach $2 trillion in 2025, up from $1.5 in 2023. Tom.
So here's what's happening. So let's give us all a little quick lesson here. Rob, can you pull up for us really quick? The 10-year Treasury rate as of today should be 3.99, 4.05 or something like that. Right now, sitting on it. Yeah, there it is, 4.044. So the 10-year Treasury is 4%. This is what the mortgages are tied to. Now, what the normal spread is, this is the spread. Spread is the bank profit. So banks buy money at this rate and add 1.5% to it. That is the traditional spread historically. So this should be 1.5. So this should be 5.5%. Now let's go to the 30-year. 30-year this morning should be 7875. No, 6875 to 7125, something like that. The 30-year fixed mortgage, you had it before? Yeah. Same way, the spread that's on the 30-year fixed mortgage right now is almost 3 points. Why are banks...
Tom, how does he show that? Because I'm not seeing it. 30-year mortgage rates he had before.
Yeah,
what did he have before?
What's a 30-year fixed mortgage today?
30-year fixed mortgage is what? 6.8%, something like that?
Correct. All right.
Zoom in, Rob.
7.
Yeah, 7. 7.25.
7.2.
So normally the spread is 10-year Treasury plus 1.5 points. So mortgages should be 5.5 to 5.75. Why are they 7.23? The banks are putting 3% spread on it right now because of what they're calling prepayment risk. What's prepayment risk? Refinancing. So the banks are keeping the mortgages right now at 7.23, 7.5 because they believe in less than 2 years, the consumer is going to refinance the mortgage and they're trying to build in profit to it. Historically, the 10-year Treasury plus 1.5 was your 30-year fixed mortgage rate. So basically what the banks are saying now, America, you're going to be paying higher interest rates for a while because the rates aren't going to come down enough. Mm-hmm. And I think as soon as they come down, you guys are just going to run back in and you're going to refinance it. So the banks usually don't have a profitable mortgage for about 2 years because what happens is they pay commissions out. They have their costs that go into putting that mortgage in motion. Makes sense? It's their business cost. And if someone refis it 2 years before it happens, so what are they doing? They're building in what's called prepayment spread, and that's what's going on right now. So Morgan Stanley is right. These and when interest rates come down next year, some of that spread's going to come out because that part will not be refinanceable. Now the rates are down, and now what they believe the future will be 5.5 to 6.25. That's only 3/4 of a point. So your prepayment risk is lower. So basically, interest rates higher for longer means we should all, as Americans, expect mortgages to be higher for longer. Mm-hmm. And that six rate cuts next year of a 1/4 point is only 1.5 points.
So you do think it's going to stay above 6 next year and 6 next year?
I'm with Morgan Stanley
with Goldman Sachs
and with Goldman.
Excuse me. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Tom. Give your answer. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I'm with the banks, and I believe that that's exactly what's going to happen. That we're still going to see 6.25 mortgages at the election.
Got it.
Tom, you're super smart, but sometimes you're too smart. Because Vinny, did you understand what he just said?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
So let me simplify this for the Vinnies out there, because I got what Tom was saying, and it was a great breakdown. But sometimes you're not smart in the face, bro. You're not, no.
It's
La
too much.
cabeza es stupid.
It's too much.
Let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
So you got to look at anything you're buying. Is it cheap or is it expensive? Am I getting a good deal or a bad deal? Right now, you're not getting a good deal, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, I'm gonna put Rob to work. Pull up historical mortgage rates. Okay. Here's what's happening. We're having a supply and demand issue. So while you're pulling that up right now, so everything is based on the Fed fund rate. You ever heard that term, Fed fund rate? Basically, how much banks charge other banks to basically borrow money and all that. So that current rate is 5.5%. What that was 4 years ago was like 2%, Pat? What was that number a few years ago?
That's weird.
Okay, so now, but that's what the banks charge other banks, historical averages, thank you. But now there's something called the prime rate. The prime rate is what basically the people, what we got to pay. So it's usually a 3-point spread with that, as Tom was basically alluded to, that spread. So the prime rate is about 8.5%. So there's a buffer. The banks aren't going to charge you what they charge the average person. So if you look at mortgage rates, Rob, can you break down what these numbers say? My eyes aren't what they used to be. In the 70s, it was 7.3%. In the 80s, it was almost 13%, bro. In the 90s, it went down to, what is that, 9%? 2000s, 8%. 2010s, as cheap as it's ever been, until the 2020 showed up. 3.5%. Wow. So we've been super spoiled for the last 20 years. Super, super, super spoiled. So everyone you know who's bought a house in the last 20 years, dude, they're getting 3% rates, 4% rates, 5% rates. So now when they skyrocket up to 8.5%, people are like, this is fucking expensive. It's like, yeah, if you look at the history of this, it's actually pretty common. It's actually way worse. So now, it's like when everyone kind of has COVID hangover and they're like, inflation's at 8%. It's actually at 3.5%, bro. You're just still given that COVID hangover. So right now, when they're saying that these mortgage rates are going to basically stay at what percent, Pat?
6%.
6%?
3 over 6, 2 years.
Historically, that's not bad.
I tell you, I hope they do. I'm telling you, I hope they do. Because there's a part where we've been not disciplined. Fake success. I keep talking about fake success, and you kind of highlighted it from a different standpoint as well. It would be very, very good for America to keep this thing above 6%. It'd be very good, huh?
Why?
Because when it's cheaper and it's lower, you're just financing shit for nothing, and you're getting it for nothing, and you're making irresponsible. By the way, the lower it goes, the more money I make. Like, think about it. The more they lowered the rates. My house is worth more the lower the rate it is, man. Not the higher the rate it is. So shit, lower the rate. I don't care if it lowers the rates. It's not good for the economy. All it's going to do is increase the rich getting richer and the poor getting poor. Yep. What a rate at 6% does is kind of keeps it here. Because a house that, a guy's asking for $1 million, this is not $1 million house, bro. This is a $770,000 house. Yeah, it is. But because the rates are so low, you don't have a choice. You got to pay $1 million for it. But if it keeps at 6% above next 2 years, that mill could potentially go a little bit lower. All I'm saying is, if these guys start lowering the rates crazy in 2024, 2025, again, go for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Do it. I'm not affected by it. Middle America will get destroyed.
You think that's but Pat, would that be like a good way for them to look good for like their presidential run, but then middle class is gone?
It's horrible if they do that.
Pat,
it's horrible if they do that for middle America. It's fantastic for me.
But don't you, but I think isn't that the elite's goal is to get rid of the middle class so you're rich or
watch
you're poor?
This. Like, what do you think I want? You think I want you to buy a house?
Right now? Of course, in general, of course you do.
I want to come to your house.
100%.
I want to come to a guy's house.
Yep.
I want to go to my guys and pick up a place and all this other stuff. They're calling me saying, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't know about right now. I just think right now they're destroying middle America. Lowering the rates to 0, believe it or not, destroyed middle America. I'm telling you, it destroyed middle America.
I want you to unpack that a little bit. If you lower rates, doesn't that make buying a house more accessible for the average person? Why does that destroy the average person?
No. All it does is it lower. People don't buy a house based on dollar amount. People buy a house based on what mortgage payment they can afford to buy.
Yeah, the monthly
Okay,
payment.
that's
Yeah.
it. No
Same
one
with a car.
buys on a price of a house or a car. They buy, like right now, guy goes to the dealership. How many people who buy a car say the following? I'm here to buy, my budget is a $35,000 car. Nobody says that. People go to a dealership and they say what? My budget is $500 to $600 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how people buy a
show me
car.
what I could get.
Yeah, nobody says $35,000 car except for people that have cash, right?
Yep.
And somebody who goes to buy a house, they don't say my budget is $1 million to $1.2 million home. They go to the realtor and say what? My budget is $4,000 a month. P&I, everything included, everything $4,000 a month. Okay, then we have to deal with a $600,000 house.
There you go.
Okay, so zero, they say, yeah, you can buy $1 million home. And I'm going to sell it for $1 million because you're thinking I'll pay $1 million because my budget is what? $4,000 a month because the rates are so low. So this is a terrible idea. I hope they stay to the 6. I hope Goldman Sachs wrote this article for the Fed to be like, oh shit, if Goldman says it, we better stay here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know how Stephen A. Smith sometimes says stuff that maybe, I sit there and I wonder, are you saying it or did the Lakers leak this to you to talk because you got the biggest mic so the NBA can listen to you and maybe Adams, I wonder if some of that
Like a little
gamification
foreshadowing
happens.
kind of thing.
So whenever I see Stephen A. or some of these main he's number 1, he's not number 2. Whenever I hear some things, I'm like, oh, okay, huh. Who told you? You know what I'm saying?
Insider information.
I wonder because Stephen A. is on the inside of a lot of things, is who he is. We like ourselves some Stephen A. Okay. All right, so there you go. Next, 6th grader killed. 5 others hurt in shooting at Perry High School in Iowa. Authority. By the way, did we do the ad for gold? We didn't even do that, right? I'm assuming it's too late right now at this point
We'll
to do
skip
it,
it
right?
today.
Okay, we'll skip it today. Okay. 6th grader killed, 5 others hurt in shooting at Perry High School in Iowa. Tragic when you see this, but unfortunately, many of these keep happening, and there seems to be a trend with it. We'll see if there is a trend. Gunman, 17 years old, Dylan Butler, opens fire at Perry High School in Iowa, killing a 6th grader and wounding 4 other high school students and an administrator. Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation Assistant Director Mitch states it's not yet clear why the 6th grader was in the building at the time of the shooting. Police discover an improvised explosive device in the school. Iowa State Fire Marshal and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms render it safe. According to the director, Mitch Mortvedt, Butler, armed with a shotgun and a handgun, made social media posts around the time of the shooting. The incident occurs on the first day back from winter break. Calls for stricter gun laws emerge, but Iowa does not require a permit to purchase a handgun or carry a firearm in public as of July 2021, which wouldn't have made a difference anyways. This guy was a 17-year-old. Go ahead.
And the Iowa, when's the Iowa caucus?
9 days,
Tom?
8 days.
It's coming up, but and everybody's fixed on the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and I trust me, I'm in the same boat because I want to find all this information. But that person that killed these, first of all, look at this guy. He's in the LGBTQ community. By the way, when the cops showed up like a coward, he shot and killed himself. But he was transgender fluid. And then let's look at this pattern. Bro, remember the Colorado Springs shooter a while back? Anderson Lee Aldrich, non-binary. Remember the Nashville shooter, the Audrey Hale, transgender. Aberdeen, Maryland shooter, Snowchi Mosley, transgender. Denver school shooter. Are you guys catching on to the trend? Alec McKinney, trans. In regard to the Nashville shooter, Aubrey Hill, the manifesto, remember the manifesto that they wouldn't release it? It's almost like they were hiding it from us. Any other school shooter that leaves a manifesto, we get to see it because I think they're trying to hide it because a narrative of this white people and white supremacy BS is happening. When are we going to stop and be like, okay, listen, it's not like a crazy epidemic right now, but it seems like a trend where these people, I don't know if they're mentally unstable, but the LGBT, Rob, what's the LGBT? Cause I don't want to mess it up because you're going to offend people. Rob,
Currently, it's
mark?
LGBTQIA2S+.
what does that stand for?
They also threw a pi sign in there.
Yeah,
now,
what does
and
that stand for?
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and or questioning, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit. The plus sign represents the many ways people choose to self-identify.
And that's the point. I know.
Tom, you're a smart guy. You didn't understand anything Rob just said.
No, I thought he was describing the chemical formula for salt.
Yeah, but my point being, and I know what people are going to say, oh, it's not the lesbians and gays. No, you guys are, it's a community because they lump everybody in with
they shouldn't.
Which I 100% agree, but it's the T's and the weird ones. But it's like,
It's
bro,
the T's.
they're radicalizing the youth. This is becoming an extreme movement. They're going in there and they're shooting, and then the media's protecting. By the way, it's not known that this person was. I had to dig deep to find out who this person is, and it's like, bro, when are we going to address the fact that there's a mental health issue happening, Tom?
You're hitting it so perfectly. The issue is,
Tom, that sentence was weird. But go ahead. You were saying, yeah.
You are hitting the nail on the head on this topic. Sorry about that. And what you have is people that are mentally ill are hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. These are depression and suicidal thoughts, and then people act out. And this is a horrifying way that they act out. And we're going to make it about the guns, and we're going to make it about white people. We're going to make it about everything else than saying what is going on with the folks and what is up with the mental health crisis in America. And you can go right back to RFK, who made a comment at the town hall meeting that said decades ago, when we closed the mental health institutions in America that were providing care and solution of where to put these people and where to take them so that they weren't hurting others around them. And we shut those down, and all these people are on the street, and then these things are untreated. And we're saying that there's someone else is causing you to be what you are, rather than getting these people assistance and keeping them safe where they don't hurt other people. I'm out.
End of story.
We'll see you, Tom.
Man, this is, to me, like, you know how you get worked up about, you know, the sound of freedom and stuff like
100%.
that? Like how upsetting that is to you?
Big time.
This is my top of my list, most upsetting thing. Like I'm like tearing up right now.
Yeah.
Imagine, okay, you're a parent. Mm-hmm. It's the first day of school.
Yeah.
You're getting your kid ready to go to school. You're excited. Like when I was a kid, I used to like literally sleep in the clothes that I was going to wear. I was so excited to go to school.
Yeah.
And then my mom would be like, hey, you got to take them off. You got to shower before school.
Yeah.
That's another story. But you're a parent, you know, and you're getting your kid ready for the first day of school, and you get a call from the school. Yeah, there's been a shooting at the school.
Oh, my God.
And your kid just died.
Oof.
Because some fucking mentally ill, weak person showed up, 17 years old, and he wanted to murder little kids. In this case, it was a, sixth grader?
Sixth grade and a bunch of other
My
kids.
nephew's in fifth grade, sixth grade. Like, he's coming in sixth grade this upcoming year. To me, it's the most sad thing, because when we were growing up, what'd we have to worry about? Maybe getting the shit kicked out of you by some bullies?
Yep.
We didn't have to worry about someone coming in and shooting up the school. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the saddest thing. And this goes back to this is reminiscent of what happened at Sandy Hook, right? Under, President Obama, Sandy Hook, Connecticut, when he was the president, came out there and made a big speech. This is obviously why our buddy Alex Jones owes $1 billion in fines. We all know what he said and what he did. And as much as I actually really like Alex Jones, he was dead wrong on that. But to me, it's the saddest freaking thing. You have these little kids that are going to school, trying to just be educated, have fun, play, recess, learn, do your thing, make friends.
Yep.
And they get killed for just being a kid. They say that there's 3 types of genders, or 3 types of gender ideology. There's men, women, and just the mentally ill. And you highlighted what's going on with those people is a lot of times they're just mentally ill and they're weak. You know how you're not a strong person if you get a gun and you show up and you kill kids. You're weak. You're not tough.
Yeah.
You're weak. Anyone can do it. The Sandy Hook shooter was a skinny, scrawny, nothing person of a kid, mentally ill, weak, and he took it out on kindergartners. Dozens of them. Mm-hmm. To me, this is the saddest epidemic that's going on in America today. I can't even imagine what it would be like to have a kid and lose them because they're just trying to go to elementary school. It's disheartening, it's saddening, and unfortunately, here's the sad reality of it. It's another story in the news day, and we move on.
And nobody really knew about it. But it's horrible. But Adam, and wouldn't you be even madder if you knew the government isn't even addressing the main problem, which is the mental side of it. Yeah. All they want to do is say it's guns, guns, guns at them, because at the end of the day, they don't want us to have guns. Because guess what? If it wasn't for the Second Amendment, Tom, guess what? all of us in here would be vaccinated. All of us would have our rights. I'm telling you right now, that's why every other country hates us, is because we have the Second Amendment. Thank God for our founding fathers, bro. The First Amendment and the Second Amendment, because they would trample all over us. When they notice how they don't give a shit about the kids. They're just like, oh, take the gun. It's the gun. No. Can we take a step back? This person was obviously mentally ill. They're pretending to be non-binary. They're posting shit online. Nobody's saying anything because you know what? No. You're transphobic. You're phobic. And you talked about this the other day. Phobic. Enough with that bullshit, because it's going to keep on happening. People are going to still. By the way, at the end of the day, get rid of the guns. That person will come in with a truck and drive right through them crossing the street.
They'll find a way.
They're going to die. Listen to me. If I want to kill people, Adam, I don't need my gun. Trust me, I'll make it happen. And these sick people could do it. We need to start worrying about the mental health side. Because guess what, Adam? If I started pretending that I was a dragon and I came in here like, ugh, wouldn't you guys say something? Wouldn't you report? Wouldn't you be like, Pat, you as the CEO, you'd be like, yo, Vinny needs help. Let's address the help. You know what I mean? Because then guess what? The next day I come and throw fire on everybody. I'm like, oh shit, why would he have done that? Because you didn't address my sanity, my insanity. But they're protecting that community and it's backfiring.
Yeah, one more thing. You're right. If you're mentally ill and you want to take it out on people, and you, like Tom said, I like what you said, when you say hurt people, it's so true. You're going to find a way. Unfortunately, a gun is actually the most convenient way. It's the great equalizer, as Pat has mentioned in the past. So whether it's a car, whether it's a knife, whether it's a machete, you're going to find a freaking way. It just so happens that the gun is the easiest way to do it. And I just don't understand why these schools are gun-free zones. Every school should have a police officer, a security detail, whatever it is,
veteran, that
front and back of the school.
Yep.
You ain't coming in this school unless you go through this big door
and they don't
with
care.
a security clearance.
And why don't we have it, Adam? They don't give a shit. At the end of the day, they don't care. And all these other people are armed with people with guns. Everywhere you go, people are security. From LeBron to all these people have security. But when it comes to the kids, we're like, no.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Because they don't give a
but
shit.
But these politicians, I want to go deeper than that. These politicians have kids or they have grandkids. It does not give you any political expediency to basically have dead kids at your doorstep. It does nothing for your approval ratings. Congress approval ratings are at an all-time low. So there needs to be a deeper situation here than just they don't give a shit. I assume they do.
I don't know.
I
wouldn't give it I wouldn't give them that, because why is everybody, including the media, hiding when it's a transgender shooter? The manifesto.
So there's something to be said there.
That should be the first thing I want to see is what the hell was going on in here. But they hide it because it doesn't fit the white guy with Biden's extremists. No, it's
white
not that.
supremacy.
It's fucking crazy people. We're crazy people, and they don't care, Adam, because there is no explanation. Why aren't they guarded?
And we see what's going on in America. Anxiety's at an all-time high. Depression's at an all-time high.
You don't see my anxiety? Yeah, you don't think I'm anxious right now?
Yeah, but you're just angry.
Yeah, because I'm pissed
in
off
in a good kind of angry.
Yeah.
You're the kind of guy that I want on my team with a gun.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next story. Obviously, super tragic what's going on, and if it doesn't fit their narrative, they don't want to talk about it. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. It will backfire. It just will, because the story is going to catch up, and it's going to be personal to them. Just like a Robert De Niro who cannot stand Trump to save his life. A documentary was coming out at a movie festival, and it was the Vaxxed documentary. It was called Vaxxed, I believe, or something like that. And he talked about his son. He never talks about it. His oldest son is autistic. And Robert De Niro is not a fan of vaccines. He's a full-blown liberal, hates Trump to the highest level. But guess what? When it comes down to vaccine, they're on the same page.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this document in the interview, what he does and how he was silenced. And he's like, I don't really want to talk about it, but this is something everybody has to watch.
I didn't see it.
You did not know
you know
this?
that?
Yeah. So eventually, enough of people are going to flip and they're going to say, this doesn't make sense. Common sense eventually prevails. But before it does, it destroys a lot of people's lives. Common sense eventually prevails. Before it does, it destroys a lot of people's lives, and it's happening right now. Let's go to the next story. So, DEI with Harvard alum Bill Ackman calls for resignation of board members who supported Claudine Gay. Here we go. So, supported Claudine Gay Where's this, Adam? Okay. Bill Ackman, Harvard alum and CEO of Pershing Square Capital Management, insists that the corporation board should not remain in their seats, protected by the unusual governance structure, which enabled them to obtain their seats. He calls for the resignation of board members who supported former President Claudine Gay and board chair Penny Pritzker. Ackman identifies Harvard diversity, equity, and inclusion policies are as a root cause of the institution's problem, DEI, stating the DEI movement is an important contributor to our growing divisiveness. He expresses concern about the impact of these policies on Harvard and the broader educational system. Now, Al Sharpton targets Bill Ackman over criticism of school's ex-president, DEI. He says civil rights activist group National Action Network plans to picket outside billionaire Harvard graduate Bill Ackman's New York office on Thursday in protest of influential alums' pressure campaign to oust ex-Harvard President Claudine Gay and his criticism of diversity, equity, and inclusion. President Gay's resignation is about more than a personal or single incident, Sharpton said. This is an attack on every black woman in this country who's put a crack in the glass ceiling. It's an assault on the health, strength, and future of diversity, equity, and inclusion at a time when corporate America is trying to back out of billions of dollars in commitments. Most of all, this was the result of Bill Ackman's relentless campaign against Claudine Gay, not because of her leadership or credentials, but because he felt she was a DEI hire. And by the way, more stuff came up about her plagiarizing, and Harvard's still going to pay her $900,000. By far, there is something we have to consider here that is actually very serious thing for us to consider. We have to know that anytime you work with somebody as successful as her, she has absolute keys to success. And there's 3 keys to success that I think everybody can pick up from Claudine Gay. Rob, if you can show it to everybody, I think it's important for people to see this. The 3 keys to success by Claudine Gay. Control, copy, and paste.
That is so funny.
That is, somebody just sent me that meme right there. It's funny as hell. I want to say Trump just posted this or not. But, yeah, so when you have a story like this and you're going back and forth, and then Sharpton comes in and it's a black thing, it's a race thing again. I mean, you're going back to exactly why DEI was a shitty idea in the first place. Go ahead, Adam. Tom, you go first. Go ahead, Tom.
You know, it's really interesting. I'm just going to go to one thing. We'll go to Adam. It's like the longer Al Sharpton speaks, it's kind of funny. If you've watched him on cable, when he gets going and they don't interrupt him, he usually accidentally discloses the real truth. And he did it here. At a time when corporate America is trying to back out of billions of dollars in commitments. Commitments to what? It's the DEI shakedown. That's what he's talking about. So he's upset because the money train is about to stop. And the DEI, the investments by corporate America that went to foundations that had nothing to do with DEI, he's talking about the shakedown. And the longer he speaks, eventually he speaks the truth. And he says, at a time when corporate America is trying to back out of billions of dollars in commitments. Commitments to what, Al? What exactly?
Yeah, and you guys know that apparently Barack Obama, he went to Harvard, correct?
Yeah.
He called and lobbied, like he's like, don't let her go. Keep her on. Who gives a shit? Like, keep her in the position. And then, like, leaves, and then $900,000. Like, she's teaching a class still? Is that what it is? She's getting $900,000 a year to be a professor.
Yeah.
What is she going to teach?
Well, remember, so is Penn. Penn, the president resigned, and she went back to being a professor. So they take one step, but then they also kind of circle the wagons a little bit.
So, Tom, I want you to use what you always talk about with when there's issues and there's problems, and you talk about what's going upstream versus what's going downstream. Break that down, then I'm going to make my point.
Oh, upstream problems versus downstream problems. Downstream, you find a polluted lake, and the liberals want to build a $1 trillion filter to put in the lake, and they want all of the people that are using the lake that have any money whatsoever, they want to tax them to death to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Whereas upstream, somebody goes upstream and says, well, where's the stream that's putting all this crap in the lake coming from? And they go upstream and they find out, do you know the campsites are dumping ash and everything in here? And there's also a pesticide factory here, and there's this farmer that's got all this runoff. You know, if we reroute all this stuff and take care of that properly, then that's going to be a happy little stream filling up the lake with clear water. So maybe we'll just fix that, and it's 1/10 of the cost, but it's twice the effort because it's so easy to stand up and say, we need a $1 trillion filter and we need all those other people to pay taxes to pay for it.
Right. So essentially, it's addressing the root of the problem, the cause of the problem, not sort of the symptom of the problem downstream of the lake. Is that kind of a fair assessment? So Claudine is not the problem. She is just the symptom. She's basically the downstream effect of the problems that have basically infected Harvard and just the university system for decades. Okay, so her head's on the chopping block. It's been chopped off, what have you. But she's not the problem. She's the martyr. She's the figurehead. She's the latest victim of this woke DEI ideology. But, they came out with the rankings of the free speech amongst college, right? We talked about this yesterday. Harvard, this bastion of intellect, the Oxford of the United States, the best place to go to school in the history of America. Do you know what ranking Harvard was in free speech? Dead last.
Meaning
that is the worst free speech in university in America. Okay? So the reason that I say that she is not the problem, she's the symptom, she's only been the president since July 1st, 2023. She's been there like 6 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
She just showed up, bro.
That was quick.
These problems are not because of her. She was hired because of the problems, because of the DEI, because of the ESG, because of the wokeness. That's how she got the job, plagiarism or not. What do you see there, Rob?
Just a chart that shows exactly what you're saying.
Thank
Ranked
you,
number
buddy.
248 in the free speech rankings,
So
Harvard University.
these problems that are going on Harvard with the Gaza Brigade and the trans stuff, dude, they've been lingering for decades. And then she shows up and they're like, okay, black lady, shaved head. Yeah, we're going to get her out of here. But she's not the problem. She's a deep, deep symptom of the problem where it's no longer a meritocracy, where it's no longer a free speech campus. It's, all right, put her in position. She checks that box. She's black. She's a woman. Boom, we need that.
But Adam, you think she got kicked out because of her, black woman, or because the fact that they couldn't answer the question of why they were allowing this anti-Israel, anti-Semitic?
Clearly,
it could have been any race in my eye.
I said this the first time.
Yeah.
Anytime someone gives you an open-ended question, are you pro or against genocide?
And you say, I don't comment.
Just take the I'm against genocide.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jews, whether it's blacks, whether it's Mexicans, whether it's Asians, whether it's Christians, whether it's Catholics, whether it's Muslims, whatever it is, be on the opposite side of pro-genocide.
Yeah.
How freaking hard is that to do? Yeah. So when someone goes, well, depends on the context, they'll go, what context? The actual act of genocide?
Yeah.
That's when you should speak up? What are we talking about here? So that's made people's headlights go, yeah, what's going on around here? And then when you're going to start losing funding, they have the biggest war chest of any college. What the biggest, what's it called, Pat? Endowment of any school ever. What is it, like $50 billion? What's the number? Whatever it is.
Ridiculous.
Okay, so meaning like the philanthropists, the donors, the big-time donors are like, yeah, I'll put up a wing in the business school and name it after my family. I'll donate to the sports program, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, I mean, listen, you go to Harvard, you make money, right? Bill Ackman, Obama, Mark Zuckerberg went to Harvard, didn't graduate. These guys donate. There's the philanthropists. They're donors. They're mega donors. If the mega donors start saying, yeah, I'm not cutting you a $100 million check this year, people are going to take notice. Money talks, follow the money. So at the end of the day, she's not the problem. She's a deep, deep symptom of the problem. So her head was on the chopping block as sort of like sure, we'll make you happy and you'll appease what's going on here, but she's a symptom of the problem. This is not her fault. Unfortunately, she's the current president and she had to go.
There you go. She still gets paid $900,000.
So let's just call it $1 million a year. That's bananas.
Great comp plan. Work for a company for 5 months. Get paid $900,000 a year.
Great.
How awesome of a retirement.
Amazing.
Guys, they're hiring. Harvard's hiring. All you have to be is you have to be a very unique set of a DEI requirement. Mm-hmm. You can plagiarize your way to the top if you want to.
Obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
Great strategy.
I'm gonna
By the way, you know what happens if a kid plagiarizes at Harvard? What happens?
He gets kicked out. You
know what happens if you plagiarize as the dean, the person running the president? You know what happens?
You're gonzo.
You get to be asked to go retire, and we still pay you $900,000.
Wow.
How awesome is that?
Sign me
What a
up.
great comp plan.
Sign me up. And you have an ex-president
Yeah,
calling
what
for
an
you saying,
awesome-
leave them there.
Well, consequence of plagiarism vary by institution and severity. Common consequences include a lower grade, automatically failing the course, academic suspension or probation, or even expulsion. Can plagiarism be accidental?
How many of those kids at Harvard are using ChatGPT to write their new
Oh, of
reports? I
course.
mean, that's all over.
How many kids? Shoot, the president.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Forget the kids.
Not only am I a client,
Yeah.
I'm the president.
Yeah. It's a
Hair club for men.
Yeah, and by the way,
Not just-
meanwhile, I was because it matters a lot. Harvard introduced a new Taylor Swift course, so popular it needs more teachers. Okay, it's a Taylor Swift
It
course.
needs
so
more
popular.
teachers.
Let me read it to you.
And with their new
Here we
plagiarism
go.
standards,
All
Milli
right,
Vanilli
so,
is coming into teach.
Harvard's University Taylor Swift course titled Taylor Swift and Her World has become incredibly popular with over 300 students enrolled, nearly 300 students enrolled. Professor Stephanie Bird, who leads the course, sought additional teaching assistant due to the overwhelming interest. The class explores various aspects of Taylor Swift's music and impact, including her songwriting, themes of adolescence, adulthood, appropriation, and queer subtext in... Seriously?
Yes.
It also delves into the influence of Taylor Swift's music on the economy, referred to as Swiftonomics. Taylor Swift's immense influence on fan culture and the fan economy is a significant focus on the course, with her Eras tour generating over $5 billion in revenue and fans spending up to $20,000 a ticket. Adam.
Yeah, we covered this yesterday in the Soscast. By the way, Vinny crushed it yesterday in the Soscast. Tune in Thursdays, 4 p.m. Anyway, the argument has been made, is college even worth it? Is college a scam? Okay, if you need more evidence that it costs more and you're getting less value than ever, look no further than your kids enrolling in Taylor Swift courses. Okay, and one of the girls made an argument yesterday. It's like, well, then maybe this is how they learn to become. This is how they learn to become like a singer or like a songwriter.
No.
I go, no, you learn to become a singer by singing.
Yeah, talent.
You don't learn to become a basketball player by watching Michael Jordan videos. Tom, what are you doing?
Tom's smoking a bong. He's doing a bong rip.
Tom smoking that bong.
Yeah.
You don't learn to become a basketball player by watching Michael Jordan videos. You get out there and you shoot some hoops.
Yep.
So this whole situation with Taylor Swift, by the way, it's not just Harvard. Again, we talked about the problems are systemic. This is just one of the situations. It's also at Cal Berkeley. It's University of Texas in Austin. My Florida Gator buddies out there, they're doing it up there. It's not just Harvard. Here's others. Northeastern's doing it. South Carolina's doing it. Austin P is teaching courses. So at this point, this argument has been made for years now. Is college worth it? Is college worth it? Is college worth it? We all know that it back in the day, 60% of college students were men and 40% were women. It has completely flipped. Now it's basically 2/3 women, 1/3 men. So they're saying you don't need a college go anymore. It's overrated. It's whatever. What's more ingratiating yourself to young women 20 years old than saying, hey, if you go to college, you can go to a Taylor Swift course. Sign me up.
Mom, Dad.
It might come with a free Swiftie ticket to our next concert. It just shows how woke college has gotten. Pat has highlighted this a million times. Thanks for teaching me this, Pat. There's 13 liberal teachers for every one conservative. The number's growing, and here's more evidence that you can just go to college, pay $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year to learn about Taylor Swift. Unbelievable.
Meanwhile, in business law, over in the business law class, maybe there could be a class on how to do a bad contract. Remember her first contract is like handcuffed the first part of her career.
Yeah, she had to remake her whole 1989 album, the Taylor version.
Maybe there's something in there. Like, this is a case study on how she screwed up her career and made a bad contract. Maybe they could put something like that in there. But you know that you mentioned Cal Berkeley.
Yep.
Cal Berkeley is doing a home defense course. It's a home defense course. It's taught by Paul Pelosi. Intruder at front door.
Stop it, Tom.
Intruder at front door. Step 1, remove pants. Step 2, pour scotch. So it's like how to protect yourself.
The hammer. But you know what?
You had to bring poor Paul Pelosi in there, who's made $100 million on stocks.
But Adam, you would think Harvard, with all the stuff that's going on, when this type of thing comes up, they go like this: hey guys, we got enough shit going on. Let's keep the Taylor Swift course thing. Let's let that marinate for like here. What else? What more do you need to know not to send your kids to Harvard? Tom, what would you do if one of your daughters, if Brooke was like, hey, listen, Dad, I signed up for a course of Taylor Swift. What would you do?
Well, we're going to have discussions because I'm like Congress at my house. I have the power of the budget.
Yeah.
And so if I write checks and I can see what the invoice says and what the courses are there. So, the cap goes on the pen and we have a conversation.
Yeah, I got you.
You're saying you're going to shake them off.
Shake them off. Good one.
Catch a
Good
hit.
one, Adam.
I'll give you that.
Good one, Adam.
Pat, you want to weigh in on this?
He's still in shock.
Yeah,
he can't believe.
The entire time I'm trying to get registered for the next class.
They do it online.
It's all full, Pat. It's all full.
Dude, can I
I'm sure there's a waiting list for that line.
Oh, man.
I'm talking to customer service right now, seeing if they can get me in.
Well, she just got fired, Claudine Gay.
By the way, there is a chat GBT on using all the proper words to not trigger customer service at Harvard, and that's kind of why it's taking me a long time.
Got you.
To use all the right proper words.
Well, she's going to be a billionaire if she's not one already.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see what
more props to her.
No, she's definitely already there. If you're wondering if she's a billionaire, I think she's already made it.
Oh, she's there.
And if she's not, she'll be there next week.
You know
Happening
that,
in
by the
no
way, Taylor
time.
Swift, she just broke Elvis Presley's record for the most consecutive weeks of being number one on the Billboard 200.
Yeah.
68 weeks. Okay, yeah, she's worth $1.1 billion, so that happened this year.
Yeah.
She broke Elvis's record, but she has a long way to go to beat the
Beatles.
The Beatles, which was, I think, 138 weeks or something like that.
By the time she reaches it, she'll be what? She'll be in her 60s or 138 weeks? No, she's got what?
No,
one
she's
more
got like
year,
another
year and a half. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, here we go. All right, next. Blackwater founder Erik Prince predicts China will invade Taiwan in spring of 2024. He predicts China will attempt to invade Taiwan in spring of 2024, stating, I'd be surprised if they don't try something under the Biden administration because for them, it has to feel like the door is wide open for them to do whatever they want to do. Prince emphasized that the weather window for a potential invasion opens around May or June, adding, if they're going to take Taiwan by force, I would predict that they're going to do something this spring. He also criticized NATO, saying Trump was right to complain about NATO not paying their share and highlighting a need for Europe to increase its industrial base for defense supplies, warning they need to crank up that industrial base, otherwise they're going to find there's not the supply they need when they want it, when they need it. Tom, do you think China will invade Taiwan in 2024?
Well, he's talking about a weather window, and what a weather window is when, the ocean down there is more calmer, so you could have ground invasions. It's easier to get your ships around. So he's saying that there's like a weather window, and if you know your history, D-Day, they had to wait for cloud cover and fog to clear, and so there's always weather windows that are in there. So he's pointing out, hey, Biden's not doing anything about it. China has a weather window here, and perhaps the rest of the world will be distracted. And he's saying this is a window where, China might do something and do whatever they want to do. And I think he has a point. I think he's out there, like an outlier on this, but I think he has a point. The world is distracted. There's so many things going on. We're righteously distracted about Israel and Gaza conflict. We're righteously distracted about a complete interruption to global shipping that's gone on with the Houthis and the normal, Suez Canal shipping. The amount of fuel that's being, by the way, inflation is going to be up simply because of the Gaza conflict, because the shipping container ships are going all the way around South Africa.
I saw a chart of that.
So there's more cost to shipping there, and if you don't think that's like a quarter point inflation, you're not paying attention. It's more gas to get stuff from A to B that people are going to be buying. And so again, I think Erik Prince has a point. Will it happen right then? I don't know. Or is he just trying, Pat, to put it out there and to make sure that the news cycle grabs it and that government is paying attention?
I don't know why he would do that. What would be the motive of doing something like that for him? I know what his business model is. I know how he makes money. I know what he's doing. But there's a part of it that, I have a bipolar opinion on this. Here's what my thoughts are on this. One, I believe on one end, China or whoever else it is sitting there saying, okay, what is Biden up to anyways? Like, when did he even say anything? Like, think about it. If there's one thing about Biden, you don't even know what the guy's up to right now.
He's on 37% of his presidency.
Of his vacation.
Weird.
So we don't know what he's up to. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Like, you don't even know if the guy is around, okay? Mm-hmm. So if these guys want to capitalize, right now is the time to do it. because if Xi sits there and says, okay, if we don't do it now and Trump gets elected, they're definitely not going to be able to do it under Trump.
Never.
So that means the next time they're going to be able to invade Taiwan is going to be what, Tom? 2029? Let's just say, right? 2029 is the...
If a certain person is elected, they ain't crossing that strait.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that certain person is Trump, if Trump gets elected till 2029. On the other side, there's a part of me that also is sitting there thinking that a Xi or China wants a Trump to be president. Because there's a part of it where at least when you got a guy that you can talk to and communicate, you can at least know where they're at and get shit done. If you're not communicating with a Biden, you can't get nothing done. Okay, like for example, when I'm doing business deals, and I would much rather get a hold of an asshole than have a guy I'm negotiating with that I can never get a hold of the sweetheart. I don't know if that makes sense. So when you're negotiating with the guy, I'm like, okay, I already know that guy's an asshole. But guess what? He picks up the call. Okay? But the other guy, he acts like he's a sweetheart. I never trust him. Nothing comes out of his mouth, do I believe. He's shifty. He's dodgy. He's always getting others to talk to me. He doesn't want to talk to me himself. I can't do a deal with you. I don't want to talk to you. Perfect example I'll give you out of a movie. Go to the movie Air. Okay, Air is about what? Michael Jordan, the shoe deal, all that stuff.
Nike.
Who's the asshole in the movie? David Falk. He's the agent.
The agent.
Right? When you talk to him, how does he talk to you? You're an idiot. You're this, you're that, piece of shit. He talks to you like that. But guess what Sonny Vicario knew? If he got on the phone with David Falk was driven by what? Results. So David Falk is the guy he had to close to get the family to want to meet with him because he knew David Falk picks up the call. Deal makers don't care if the other deal maker is an asshole. They just care if he picks up the damn call. And if I'm a Xi, I don't believe Biden's picking up the call. What do you think the communication right now with world leaders are with Biden? Honestly, think about it. What do you think world leaders, say you are Putin, say you are Trump, say you are Kim, say you are, Maduro, take anybody, take any world leader right now. What do you think is the level of accessibility to Biden today?
It's zero. There are no conversations. Last time they had the G7 conference, he's standing out there, and even Macron came back out and said, well, we understand what the United States stands for, but there was no discussion of what any discussions were. Zero. Zero.
Do you think, I was just going to say, he's not communicating. Let's just pick Putin. There's absolutely no way he's having a conversation with him. Go ahead.
Sorry, but didn't Biden and Xi just meet like a month ago?
Yeah, there's a difference to just meet.
I mean, the photo op in San Francisco.
Yeah, you pick up to do a deal, right?
Okay.
I'm asking a question. If you think they are, then great. What do you think the level of accessibility with Trump was? Meaning, and here's how I gauge accessibility. When I talk to my sales leaders, one of the biggest mistakes sales leaders make is they don't call their clients back and they don't call their sales guys back quickly. So, for example, like, I'm so busy. Bullshit, you're not busy. Call your guy back. He called you. Why are you taking 3 days to get back to your client? Call him back. He's your best sales guy. Give him a call, right? So, no, I'm just so busy. I got so much shit. No, you don't. A great sales leader is always accessible to his best salespeople. A terrible sales leader is always acting like they're busy and they never get back to people, right? What do you think? It's a basic question. By the way, Rob, can you run a... And if you're listening to this, just post the question. If you're the guy, most likely we're even talking to ourselves, knowing what's going on with YouTube today. But if you are able to listen to this, okay, so I want you to think about this here. How long? Let's run a data. You're Xi, you're Putin, you're Zelensky, you're whoever. You're a world leader, top 10, top 20 world leader. Erdogan, put the most influential world leaders.
All right.
2 case studies. You say, Mary, get a hold of the president. I need to speak with Mr. President Biden or Trump. From the moment that statement is made to getting on the phone, how long do you think until you get a hold of Trump? How long do you think until you get a hold of Biden?
Wow.
You understand the question I'm asking, right? I want you to think about this, Tom. What do you think is from the moment a world leader asks their chief of staff, I want to get a hold of the leader of the free world in U.S., Case study. Trump, Biden, how long does it take to get a hold of
I
him?
think Trump under 5 minutes. I think Biden, God knows what they're going to do. I think somebody else is going to be on that phone call.
What do you think the number is?
I'm with that. I think the G7, the G7 economic players, I think it's like within 2 hours. Whatever he's doing, they're going to find a buffer between it, and he's on the phone. He's on the phone. You know what I mean? Like if Trump was here doing a speech, he's doing this, and then boom. I think as soon as he has a buffer in the schedule, he's on that phone.
Okay, give me timeline.
Within 2 hours. I think G7 calls.
Trump?
Australia,
Trump 2 hours.
Canada,
What do you think Biden
UK.
is?
Biden?
Honestly.
Biden to get Biden on there, it's probably about an hour and a half. Hi, this is Hunter. Routing number and account number, please.
No, but what do you think it is, though? On a serious note, like jokes aside, Tom, what do you think it is?
Biden, I don't think you can get a hold of him same week. And I think it's going to be a policy wonk and like Secretary of State.
So I think Biden is a day or two. I think Trump is a couple hours. Now, here's the thing. In the world of getting shit done, okay, were you going to give a number or you don't have?
I agree with you. I think Trump's a deal maker. The art of the deal. He's going to pick up the phone. He might even just call your ass.
That's what I was gonna say,
but that's what I'm saying to you. But in the world of negotiation and getting deals done, in startup, Tom, I always say this: a minute is an hour is a day is a week is a month is a quarter is a year. You lose a quarter, you lose the year. Okay, but when you're dealing with diplomacy and world affairs, a freaking minute is like, what do you like? Let's go. We got to get on a call right now. It could be a war. It could be 10,000 people dying. It could be a guy pressing a button you don't want to press. It could be all these other things that could be taking place. So to me, I think there's a part of the whole China-Taiwan thing that I think Trump, Xi, wants a Trump type because at least he gets to win or lose based on how good of a negotiator Xi is. I think Xi wants to negotiate with somebody, and I don't think he negotiate with Biden.
I'm going to give you one thing.
Go ahead. Give it.
So we're talking about U.S. and China right here. We're talking about Biden, whether it's Trump, whether China attacks. But obviously there's a third party involved. Who's the third party? Taiwan.
Yeah.
It turns out they have a say in this matter. Pat, you highlighted something very interesting yesterday. You said, what percentage of the world is holding elections in 2024?
It was a bunch of them. 40
plus 3.2 billion possible voters, $44 trillion of the world economy.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know what? You know who's on that list? Taiwan.
Yes, they are.
Do you know when their election is being held? Next week.
Oh, wow.
How about that? Catch me outside in Taiwan. So their election is January 13th, 2024. By the time this video comes out, we're 1 week away. Okay, we're 1 week away. They have a three-party system in Taiwan. Don't ask me why I know this, but I've done some research. So the current party is the president is the Democratic Progressive Party. So they have the progressive wing, they have the moderate wing, and they have the right wing. Turns out, it's like super progressive, moderate, conservative party here in America. There you go, right there. So that's the president there on the left, the president Tsai Ing-wen. Okay. Anyway,
I mean, you tried. It's not like
I tried my best.
Food,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But the point is, they have an election.
Yeah.
And it turns out there is no appetite amongst all three parties to do any deal with China. Because the whole argument, like, why would China attack Taiwan? Why? We all think it's about chips.
It's market share chips.
Market share and chips and economic power. Mm-hmm. But Taiwan was part of China at one point, right? The one China policy, just as Hong Kong was, right? We've seen what happened when Hong Kong basically let China basically get their tentacles back on them. There he is, Lang Jite. Okay, my guy.
My guy.
My guy, my buddy. But even on the right wing of the party, the Taiwan People's Party, I believe that's what it is, there's no appetite to be a part of China. That's traditionally was what their stance was, that they actually wanted to be more closely aligned with China. And it turns out that the young people, 2% of young people under 30 in Taiwan want anything to do with China. There's zero appetite within Taiwan to be a part of China. This is like saying Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
One of our 50 states. We're like, yeah, they're part of the union. What are you talking about? And they're like, no, we're good, bro. We're doing our own thing over here in Hawaii. It's like, no, you're part of America. You're part of China, Taiwan. No, we're good on that. So we're going to see what happens in a week. We're going to see what party wins. We're going to see what platform that they're basically endorsing for their people because they have a vote there. Obviously, what's going on in this situation now if China needlessly attacks. But there's a situation of brewing. China's vision, what is it, China 2030?
Oh, God.
What was it, Pat?
Yeah.
2025.
2025?
Yeah, one China,
Well,
2025.
Okay, but that got pushed back
Made in
a little
China
bit.
2025.
That got pushed back a little bit due to COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm labeling it 2030. By that point, either Trump
You
or
just
Biden.
changed it for China? So
I just
you
did it
became
for 'em.
Xi.
Yeah, I just
What
did
a-
it for 'em.
Yeah.
Your
I
power
did
is
it.
amazing.
And by the way,
They're done. Well, that was their motto pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly, they've taken a major hit. The economy's crumbling. Unemployment, youth unemployment. China's a mess right now. Evergrande, the real estate situation. They're sort of a paper tiger at this point. But I'm moving it to 2030. I just made that official. But by 2030,
Yeah.
Trump nor Biden will be the president. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what happens.
Well, and you guys who mentioned it because you guys are talking about Biden who will pick up the phone. So Biden, you guys hear there was a report that Biden when he met Xi, he thought it was Jackie Chan. He was like, "I loved you in Russia." He's like, no, that's not me. And that whole anyway. But here's my
I just
love you,
bullshitted in that 2030. That was
Thank you.
bullshit.
But here's my question to you: Trump wins. Trump wins this cycle. How do you think his relationship be? I'm being genuine. What's his relationship going to be with China and Xi, considering he was talking shit about trade, he held them accountable, then all of a sudden COVID leaked from this lab, basically got Trump out. How do you think that relationship is going to be? Is he going to go back to F you, hold them accountable? That's going to be a dangerous relationship.
You're always going to prefer a guy you can get on a phone to negotiate with than one you can't.
Rob, go back to the story. And
No, I agree, but what I'm asking you, Pat, is
what I think is going to happen. I think Trump's going to play ball. I think Trump's going to go out there and impose and challenge. And, he in his card, he knows what China's going to fear. China's going to fear an investigation into Wuhan lab. And because of that, Trump's going to get a good deal for America because he's going to put that to him and say, listen, don't make me want to go investigate what happened with COVID because you destroyed the world. Don't make me go there. And that's his card to negotiate with. That's what a negotiator's going to do. He's going to hold on to that card.
Rob, go back to those charts where it said who did the people of Taiwan want a relationship with. It was the blue chart and a green chart, and it was like 82% wanted relationship with you. There it is. So these are the people of Taiwan. They get a vote. So let's just talk about.
This is my
We're going to
point.
talk
Thank
about
you,
the
Tom.
U.S. We'll talk about China. How about the people of Taiwan that live there?
Exactly.
Have a favorable view of the United States. 68% of China. 35%. Almost 2-1. It says support closer economic ties with United States. 85%. China. 52%.
Yep.
Support closer political ties with 79%. China, 36%.
What's your point, though?
Yeah.
If Trump gets elected and he wants to put the USS Enterprise on the coast of Taiwan, the people are going to be waving little flags and they're going to want us there. This.
That's the part why I'm bipolar with this, Tom. There's a part of me that's kind of like, but Xi is going to be like, why are you getting involved with my ex? Why are you getting involved with my kids? Why are you getting involved with my kids? These are my kids. Okay, stop getting involved in our divorce. Stop getting involved in our this. That's kind of what China views this because Taiwan used to be part of them. So to them, it's kind of like leave this relationship alone.
Well, they actually sent Chiang Kai-shek. They exiled them to frickin' Taiwan. That's how this whole thing started. It was something they didn't want. It was the equivalent of, it was Hillary Clinton and the deplorables China version. You go over there, you get out of here. You're not part of China. You're exiled over here.
Well,
there it is.
back to Vinny's point about Trump's relationship with Xi and China. Rob, if you can check this, I think I'm right. I could be wrong. On Trump's first day in office, he called or took a phone call with the president of Taiwan, and he called them there it is. On December 2nd, Donald Trump wrote on Twitter, the president of Taiwan called me to wish me congratulations on winning the presidency. Thank you. So this is a month into his presidency. And then hours later, interesting how the U.S. tells Taiwan sells billions of dollars in military equipment, but I could not accept the congratulatory call. Because basically Xi was like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Taiwan is part of China. Don't be taking phone calls from their president. You take the phone call from me. I remember this was big news back in 2016.
Yeah.
Big news. Okay, yeah, it's in Wikipedia. It's just called The Call.
The Call.
After the call on December 2nd, okay, there it is right there. Trump then, raised down on Twitter. Did Rob Punchin, did China ask us if I was okay, devalue their currency if I make it hard for our companies to compete, heavily tax our products going to their country. The U.S. doesn't tax them or build a massive military complex. So the point is, this situation with Taiwan, it was brewing since day one of the Trump administration. So we'll see if there's an Act 2 coming up in 2024.
I hope pandemic number 2 doesn't come out of there.
My God.
So, yeah.
All right, last story. What do we want to go with, Rap? What story do we want to wrap up
Can we
with?
do something uplifting?
Yeah, let's do Epstein. If we're going to be uplifting,
I said
yeah, let's talk about Epstein because, hey, everybody else, I mean, can we get into it? Because I want to ask, because I wanted to ask Pat and everybody a question about this whole situation.
So you do want to go into the Epstein story?
100%.
All right, let's go through.
Okay.
Epstein's brother, info about Trump Clinton would end 2016. But Rob, where's the story about Epstein with Tucker? Do you have the one with the Tucker interview and the notes on that? Jefferson Cole files, we've already done that. We've
Also,
already
Megyn Kelly, what she had to
second batch
say.
court document. Okay, here we go. So Jeffrey Epstein's list update, second batch of court documents unsealed. This is page 8. And then, Megyn Kelly said something. Do you have that clip, Rob, about Megyn Kelly? We're going to play that clip here in a second. Very weird what Megyn Kelly just said. But let's go through this one here, January 5th. So, newly unsealed court document revealed claims that President Clinton and his connection, Jeffrey Epstein, these documents, lawsuits, Virginia, Ghislaine Maxwell contained. Miss Clinton walked into Vanity Fair office and pressured them to not write about Epstein. A magazine spokesperson denies the claim, while Mr. Clinton's spokesperson asserts he knew nothing about Epstein's crimes.
Yeah.
The documents are the second batch of unsealed filings related to the lawsuit. The first batch included names like Trump, Andrew, magician David Copperfield, but does not indicate wrongdoing. Maxwell had been sued in 2015 by Virginia Giuffre for defamation, but settled in 2017, keeping the documents sealed until now. Rob, can you pull up that clip of what Megyn Kelly just said? Just watch this here, guys. Here's Megyn Kelly.
Tom, check this
Go
out.
for it.
Fascinating, and we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year, and you may be even hearing from him directly. More on that as I'm allowed to tell you.
What is she talking? Like, can you, and me and Rob just talked about this, Pat, before we started. Can you imagine, Adam, out of nowhere, Epstein shows up, completely, like, protected by, security and everybody. He's like, I got a story to tell. And he has all these tapes and everything because his brother hiding his face. I'm kind of on the fence because Rob showed me earlier that he has ties with Adam Schiff. He has ties with Maxine Waters. I don't really trust the brother. He's not showing his face. Who knows? He's saying, my brother's not, because, by the way, the way that the body was handled, Epstein's body, they took off his clothes, they put on a gown. There's so many mistakes. Besides the cameras, besides the guards, it's obviously some really, really sketchy stuff that happened with his brother, Pat. But I want to ask you guys a question, and a real genuine, honest question, because they mentioned Clinton's the main name, besides Alan Dershowitz and Stephen Hawking, which I don't even know how that could have happened where people were having sex with him.
And Prince Andrew.
And Prince Andrew. But how much more do we need to learn about Bill Clinton until he's held accountable for his actions? And let me just really fast. He's been accused of sexual assault. Juanita Broderick accused him of rape in 1978. In a hotel room where he almost ripped her lip off, all right? Leslie Milwee accused him of sexual assault in 1980. Paula Jones accused him of exposing herself in 1991, as well as sexually harassing her. Kathleen Wiley accused him of groping her without his consent. And I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys remember what the left was shoving down our throats? No pun intended. Believe all women. All right, that doesn't apply if those women are accusing people on the left. Moving on. 1995, he was in office. Monica Lewinsky, 18-month affair. He was hooking up with her with, the whole cigar story, smoking it, shoving it. He's a freaking deviant. And yesterday, we learned 50 times he was in Epstein's document dump where Epstein told one of the victims Epstein told one of the victims that he likes them young when it comes to women. So here's my thing. Nobody should be above the law. Not the average Joe, not a former president. How much more do we need to hear from demons like this and just information until we do something about it, right? Like, enough's enough, Pat. How many? And that's why I think it was 2 days ago I told you, there could be a video of him, Bill Clinton, hooking up with an underage girl and nothing would happen to him. And people are like, yeah, I don't know. What's going to happen to him? What is it going to need to take for him to get in trouble, to actually go to court?
Well, this is progress. I think this is a start to what's going to happen, and we're going to see whether, if this will continue or not. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it is what it is. But the reality of it is, Vinny, this is progress, and it's going to require people to be patient. You know where he was at December 29th and where he's at till today? He's been in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, he's been in Mexico meeting with they've been out of the country.
On purpose, you think?
I don't know if it's on purpose. I just know Bill Clinton spotted a smiling, greeting passerby in Mexico hours before named in Jeffrey Epstein's list. They've been out of town. They've been over there in Guanajuato, I think if I'm not mistaken. Is it Guanajuato or Oaxaca? Let me see. What's the city they're in? Guanajuato. Yeah. So they've been chilling. They've been chilling over there, and gradually, I can tell you for a fact that there are some things coming up, and a lot of people are not going to be. What's this, Tom?
That's him there. That's him in Mexico.
Is that the shirt that he wore that day?
No, that's not the golf shirt. But
this is progress. Accountability starts with this. Listen, did you watch Jeffrey Epstein's brother's interview with Tucker?
Tucker, yeah.
Did you watch that, Tom?
Yes.
Did you watch that?
I only saw a
What
couple
did you
clips.
think about it? You want to play one of the clips? Go ahead and play this clip,
And
Rob.
while he's doing it, Pat.
By the way, just so you know, this Jeffrey Epstein doesn't like Tucker. Doesn't like Trump, his brother. He's a liberal. He's not on the right.
This dude. So why would you, as the brother of him, want to come forward in this moment to he's not sticking up for him because he was like, I didn't see him for 7 years. I had no idea
They
about
haven't
it.
seen just 7 years. They're 18 months apart.
Yep.
He's a successful real estate guy. Didn't want to show his face to Tucker.
I understand that, but his ties to the left.
see the clip?
No, you'll see it here in a minute.
He has ties to the left, and it's almost as if he was trying to be like, well, he didn't kill himself to kind of distract him because with Megyn Kelly saying stuff like, you might hear from him as well. There's I don't know what the percentage is, Rob. We talked about this. How many percentage of Americans think that he actually still might be alive because of all the mistakes that were made with the body?
Clip, Rob. Play the clip.
Yeah.
Go
And then
to
also
trust him, Adam.
also play the Megyn Kelly clip after this.
We already did. We showed it.
You were smoking.
Adam, were you smoking?
Go ahead, play it.
We showed the
inmate.
Go ahead.
High-profile inmate in the most secure federal facility in the country's largest city who was somehow murdered, clearly with the knowledge of the Justice Department, and the Attorney General of the United States lies about it, which he did. And there's no reason to do that except to cover up the crime. So what does that tell us about this?
Oh, it's a scary thought that you could be killed in prison by the government.
That your brother was dead in his cell and had been dead for 2 hours.
At least 2 hours.
At least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Somebody cut off his clothing and redressed the corpse in hospital scrubs, in a gown.
Yeah, I have a photograph of him in a hospital gown on a gurney in a hospital where, his arms were put through the sleeves.
You have any other clips, Rob?
Well, think about it, and just Adam, the cameras weren't working, the security guards messed up, the body was tampered with, the brother can't find out that there's so many inconsistencies, and we still know he hasn't seen the body, he didn't get to actually see the body physically, and they moved it to the infirmary, which is not protocol. You're not supposed to do it. So, and then you hear all the rumors about him with Mossad. And how many times did the ex-prime minister of Israel go to his house in Manhattan?
Ehud Barak.
Ehud Barak was up there. How many times, Rob?
Between 10 and 100 times.
Okay, between 10 and 100 times. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Pat, I understand what you're saying with it's slowly coming out, but we've known about Bill Clinton since the 70s. When women are saying he raped me, okay, he's been a deviant this entire time. They've taken lie detector tests and they've passed, which, CIA agents know how to pass lie detector tests. The average American doesn't do it. When are we going to go, all right, everybody, let's take a timeout. You're a freaking bad guy and you need to go to have your day in court. But, dude, he's a disgusting human being. He's disgusting.
Talking about Clinton?
I think Clinton's one of them. Alan Dershowitz, dude. And why is it when you see all these people that are accused, when you see a Alan Dershowitz, when you see a John Podesta, when you see a Kevin Spacey, is it just me, or when you see these people, they all look the same? They all have that evil vibe. The Jeffrey Epstein, that photo of him in jail, they look disgusting to me. And Bill Clinton is one of them to me. I don't care how good he was for the country.
Something interesting to note: these names are coming out from one lawsuit. There's reportedly more than 34 different women who have sued the Epstein estate. So this is just the claims from one of those lawsuits. Imagine what happens if the other 33 lawsuits and victims, those testimonies become unsealed. What names will come out then?
I'll tell you one thing about Clinton. We had the opportunity to spend some time with him in New York.
Randomly at a bowling alley. It's not like we had a meeting.
I get it. They call him Slick Willie for a reason.
You're damn right.
So here's where I'm at with this. If there was anything with underage girls, hold this man accountable.
1,000%.
Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, whatever it is, hold him accountable. If it's a situation where he's just banging other chicks on the side other than Hillary, you got my vote, buddy. I think I want to spend every night with Hillary Clinton. Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna go there with that.
But what about rape? What about women saying he groped me and raped me?
That's already been addressed.
I believe all women.
That's already been addressed.
I believe all women.
The Paula Jones stuff, the Lewinsky stuff. I'm specifically talking about the Epstein stuff, dude. Donald Trump showed up in 2016 with the accusers.
I love that.
At the fucking debate. Have you ever seen anything like that? You like reality TV, Google Trump Clinton debate. Bill Clinton, who was 70 years old at the time, look like he was 188 years old.
He was about to die in there.
Okay? Yeah. I've never,
dude, there that look. Look at that look.
Come on, player.
By the way, that's not his daughter. Just Google it.
That is his daughter.
No, that's not his daughter.
That's Chelsea Clinton.
Who is the person that they say that?
That is Chelsea Clinton.
Does that look like him?
Vinny, that is Chelsea Clinton.
Okay.
No, we'll get
okay. Why don't you Google who is Chelsea Clinton's father?
Please, Rob, please. Tom, what's his name?
Webb Hubble.
Webb Hubble is the
Go to images.
What are we doing right now,
Go to
guys?
images.
What are we doing?
Go to images, Rob.
What kind of nonsense are we doing right now?
What type of tomfoolery? Webb Hubble. That's the guy. That's his. By the way, how about the
Sure, guys.
Yeah.
You win. Just
right.
a random picture, a guy I've never heard about.
Okay,
you
all
win the
right.
argument.
And Rob,
not the girl that he's been raising since the time she's zero.
Oh, and what about the black kid from Arkansas? Did you see that kid? Where they call him, they go, that's Clinton's
You know what,
kid.
Vinny? Go do your unusual suspect Clinton bullshit. Okay, I'm not like.
It's not. Well, you love him that much, Adam?
I'm not. I'm just saying I like to live in reality.
What's Rob? What's Vinny talking?
Yeah,
about?
who's the son of the Arkansas Bill Clinton's son? Roger Stone actually did a documentary about this kid and went there. Who does that person look like?
Danny Williams.
Danny Williams, and that's he's claiming. Yeah, who is that, Adam?
Vinny, do you have any discretion, or if you just see something, it's 100% fact?
Adam, there was a documentary. Roger Stone did the whole thing.
Listen,
does that not look like him?
Listen,
In the neighborhood, they said that looked like him.
We did this whole entire conversation before you joined PBD podcast with freaking Dr. Jordan Peterson. Everyone's like, of course.
I didn't do one with.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Before. You know what before means, baby.
Looks like it.
Who'd we ask about? Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
And this guy spent 2 hours ripping on Justin Trudeau. Yeah. He's the worst. I would never in a million years. And then we asked him, there's been stories that Fidel Castro is actually Justin Trudeau's dad. He goes, I can't condone this type of thing. It's not good. So the point is, somebody who hates Justin Trudeau with all his heart, with all his passion, would not even do that. So believe me, Dr. Jordan Peterson hates Justin Trudeau way more than you hate a Clinton. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. Use some discretion before we start making shit up.
I didn't make nothing. Hold on. No, I got to address this bullshit comment that you just made. I'm saying from the beginning.
This isn't even a fake
Bill
fight,
Clinton. No. Bill Clinton. How much more do you need to find out, Adam? How much more do you need to find out about Bill Clinton to be like, the guys... How much more?
Why do you wake up every morning thinking about who Bill Clinton is banging?
See, I don't give a shit.
You do.
He's on Epstein's list 50 times. You don't think the world's paying attention right now?
If there's underage girls and that's what's going on, hold him accountable. Okay. If he's just banging random chicks and he has an illegitimate child, half of America has that shit.
I'm just saying, though, what about, I'm not just sticking with the underage kid thing. What about the rape allegations? Oh, just throw that one away?
It's none of my business.
It's none of your business because you don't care.
He's already been on trial for that.
Yeah, but Adam, he died.
You only want to go relegate?
Okay, it's 11:07, guys.
You know what?
Let's
Maybe
figure
we
this
should
thing
just
out.
turn left into Daily Plaza, drive past the book
Let me
depository.
spin this positive. I'll do it real quick. Here's why the Epstein thing is not going away. I don't know why you're making this so much about Clinton. Let's make this about Epstein. You're like so fixated on Clinton. Let's make this about Epstein. And this is why Epstein isn't going away. Conspiracy theories. JFK, who are the biggest of all time? Elvis. Oh, people think he's still alive. Tupac. All that was pre-social media. All that was pre-podcast. All that was before this disruption that's going on. The reason that this is never going to go away for Epstein is because people like us, people that have podcasts, people that have social media, people that have voices, people that want freaking answers are not going to drop this. The Whitney Webbs of the world are not going to be silenced. And this is what the people want to know about. So this is the reality. I like to stay fixated on what the hell happened with Epstein, not Slick Willie.
But Slick Willie, but out of all people, who was mentioned the most? That's my point, is him.
Prince Andrew.
No, it's not. It's 50. How many times did he fly there, Adam? Bill Clinton is all over. The story we just talked about was Bill Clinton. So my thing is, Adam, just accountability.
You're breaking his heart.
I know.
Don't do that.
It's accountability.
That's sad.
There's no accountability.
He was the first president you ever voted for. You said that.
I'm still saying that. It's the truth. I was 18 years old. So, but anyways, having said that, podcast is over. Gang, for those of you guys that kept coming back, I have to tell you, I have a lot of respect for you. I appreciate you. Thank you. The good news is this is going to be cut up in clips. YouTube just got back to us. They said they're going to send us an email telling us what's going on. We just checked other channels as well. Some podcasts that are non-related to politics to see if they're experiencing it. Some of them didn't. So it seems to be the Jimmy Dores are having it, Tim Cass are having it, a few of them are having it, but some of the regular channel shows are not experiencing what we just experienced today. We'll investigate a little bit more to see if there's anything credibility to it or not. Aside from that, have a great weekend. We will do this again next week. And again, for those of you guys that are hardcore viewers of the podcast, text the word podcast to 310-340-1132 so you can know what we're going to be doing. God knows what's going to happen in the future, but stay close with texting the word podcast to 310-340-1132. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.